Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy, so keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to fight.
Appreciate you so much. Everything you've done, everything you've done. Appreciate you. Because they don't know, this is a tough business that they're in, you know what I'm saying? Iron sharpens iron, you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Dedication, hard work. Dedication, hard work.
You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
Base. Let's have a little look.
My wife, She's missing. I fear terribly for her safety.
Some women are just looking for a reason to go missing.
She disappeared into the Ahedar Desert, the heart of the Whispering Waste.
As suicides go, it has an exotic appeal.
I fear she has returned to my former mansion. If you would track her, find her, bring her home.
You'd pay me in sad looks and liquor?
The mansion was never reclaimed by the tax collectors. Dark rumors swirl amid the whispering winds. Land leviathans maroon amid the dunes and cataclysms past. If my vault is untouched, its entire contents, the wealth of 5 noble generations, are yours.
You had your openers and closers reversed.
I should warn you, Sir Thief, or Nachtin the boards call it. The dead citadel. Worse still, the Whispering Wastes do not lie empty. Rumors swirl of a figure, stooped and shrouded in grey, face hidden, dragging a silver blade at his side, carving his way through the criminal element of 2 entire countries. None have divined its purpose, and it has only ever spoken one word, one most would not even recognize as a name.
Nosfero. Does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
Hard work, dedication, hard work, dedication.
Hello, all of you fine people. It is great to see you. My name is Shanth and Jetty. This is Shanth and Jetty Art, and welcome to the Iron Age Forge. Today we are going to be painting some Nosfero the Crypt Walker. If you know me, that is my book on Indiegogo at the moment. and I am working away on a figure this morning, working away on a bunch of different stuff. Let's see who we've got here in the chat before we get started here. We have got, of course, Sark saying good morning, and I say good morning to Sark. How are you doing, my friend? I hope you are well. We've also got Blackjack here. It's good to see you. Hail CG, indeed. That's how we roll. We have got all-around MVP and channel member, the very first, Stephen Rockwood here in the chat. We have got author and artist Jay Lee of the Steins fame here. Check him out. We've got Neon Todd Studios in the house. It is great to see you, Neon Todd Studios. I hope you're having a great one. And, of course, we have Awesome One here in the house. Always awesome to see Awesome One. Yeah, guys, it is great to see you guys. Yes, thank you so much, Awesome One. I appreciate it. I had a blast working on that piece. It was a lot of fun. God, I look like I'm in a cave in this shot right here. Oh, well, it's a little dark in here, but it's always a little dark in here. And oh, my God, I can't start coughing already. That's not the way to live. But, yeah, I had a great time making that piece. It was a ton of fun, and congratulations, man, to Preston Acevedo with a dynamite piece, guys. If you haven't seen the book yet, the link is in the description. If you haven't seen Preston's artwork, go check it out. You are missing out if you haven't. Yeah, man, it was a ton of fun, and I was up until they announced the winners, which was great. Thanks again. It was wonderful, and thank you for the congratulations. And then I passed out, and I said, I got to do a stream in the morning, man. I got to do a stream. So here we are. Well, it's not really the morning, is it? It's kind of the afternoon here. So, yeah, I'm working away on this page. I am getting towards the tail end, you might say, of the book. And it's been a great process, man. I'm really excited about it. I had a couple of days there where, you know, when you're working and all this YouTube and all this great YouTube and stuff that we do, but where I've been running myself into the ground. I have been just up all night, and I think you see this with a lot of us, you know, we're in CG. We're just working, you know, crazy hours, and it's a very strange thing because I started noticing that my reflexes were off, and I was like, I needed to just recharge and rest up my eyes because I just was focusing on so much detailed stuff and so many things like that, and I feel really re-energized. I took some downtime, spent some time more time with the family, and which was great, and just really got recharged, man. Just got really recharged, and it's been good because I think one of those things with me that I run into, been years since you've used Bristol board. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, awesome. I'm just seeing that. Excellent. Yeah, I love doing that stuff. Well, and Stephen Rockwood, we aim to please, you know. We aim to please. And we've also got Cowabunga here in the chat saying hello. Hello, Cowabunga. It is great to see you, my friend. A little bit of lag on my end between when it shows up here because it's actually the reason why the resolution is so good is because it's streaming right off of my computer. So it's actually capturing the info from YouTube, but I've got the YouTube window open next to me. And that's why we're able to get the resolution we're able to get. And why we're able to do what we do. It's because this particular software allows for it. But yeah, man, it was a great night for Comicsgate. It was a ton of fun. And I think that it's been an unbelievable year, man. It's been an unbelievable year for me. And I'm incredibly grateful for all of the cool people that I've met, but even more importantly than that, just how great it is to be able to do what I do here in CG and to be able to meet so many people who are working in and around it, people like RAZÖRFIST, people like Eric July. It's been very cool. And I have to say that it's, as an artist and as a creator, when you're writing something like this, it is, you know, and making a book, for heaven's sake, like this, it is a big commitment and one I take very seriously, but it is a ton of work. And I think sometimes I'm really good at telling people, hey, you know, take a breather, rest your eyes, chill, and not so good myself, but I'm working on it. We got my brother Phil here. What's up, Phil? From Zaid Comics, man. My brother. Phil, it has been a minute. It has been way too long since we've hung out, man. I know we keep saying that, but let's continue that trend. Anthony Gonzalez Clark, I tip my cap to you, my friend. I hope everybody... By the way, I wanted to say this because I completely forgot to say it, guys. To all of the artists who entered the art contest for Boots and Heels, guys, was really impressed by the stuff I saw. So proud that we're doing what we're doing here. And I really do believe iron sharpens iron. And I just wanted to tell all of you guys, congratulations on great work. Congratulations on showing up and making the contest fun, because that's how we're going to promote things. Making this stuff fun. The rule of cool, the rule of fun. You know how it works, guys. You know how we do this. What is up, Joseph Dredd? I tip my cap to you. It is great to see you, my friend. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. But, I mean, seriously, guys, it was great. Did you see my Inglorious Rex submission? Did it finish? What do you call it? I saw the in progress, but did I see the submission? That is a very good question. I don't think I did. Is it on your Twitter? Oh, Preston Acevedo, you gotta check out my, I made a great YouTube video referencing Rounders. I thought it was great. Good morning, fellow artist Odin. Congratulations on your fine work, my friend. Saw your work last night. Great stuff. Excellent. I didn't even know there was a contest. I could have done best stick figures. Hey, listen. Everybody who showed... I tell you this, guys. There's... How do I word it? Anything that we can do to make this place more fun, more exciting, and whatever we've got to do. Pinned on my Twitter. Okay, hold on a second here. So why is it... I don't understand. It just said, should you hide that that particular comment? And I was like going, why? Is pinned mean something new? I don't know. I shudder to think, but I'm not going to look that up. Hold on a second, Anthony. I have you in here somewhere. Am I following you? Anthony. Why am I not? Hold on a second. It's Anthony DG. Is that going to help me get to you? Excellent. There we go. All right, let me see here. Holy cow, man. That's fantastic. Oh, great job, brother. I love the perspective. Very nice, dude. Great stuff, man. I wish I knew how to share windows in Ecamm, but I don't. I apologize for that, guys. But everybody go and check that piece out. Actually, here's what we can do here. Here's what we can do. All right, hang on a second here. Edit. Is this it? Hold on. Shiver me timbers. Hold on a second, guys. I move at the speed of stop. You know how it is here. There we go, guys. It's the pinned tweet. Go check it out, man. Open it in another window and take a look at it, because I am excited to see when people are crushing it, man, and doing great work. Yeah, man. That's a genuine reaction, dude. That's how it is when I see this stuff. Guys, art is... I don't want to say art is everything to me, because everything to me is my wife and kids and my family. And I love Nosfero. I'm passionate about this book. Good morning, Scottsley, my man. I haven't seen you in ages, man. It's good to see you. There is Scottsley. I tip my cap to you. And yes, indeed, hail awesome one. Hail to Odin, who had a great piece in there as well. I much respect, much love. It was great to share the space with you, Odin. And yeah, it's great to see you, Scottsley, brother. How are you doing? So many good people in the chat this fine morning. And I hope everybody's having a good one. But yeah, man, I love art so much. And I love what we're doing here. And I don't know, man. I'm getting re-fired up because I need to... Hold on a second. Let me move the camera because the way that I have it set up right now, it's my hand's going to get in the way. If I don't get the angle right, it's going to have you won't see where the brush is going out. There we go. That's a little bit better. But it's really great to see because I was looking yesterday... I was looking at RAZÖRFIST's favorite interior artist on the Shadow Pulps, Tom Lavelle, and his black and white stuff. I was looking at that stuff, and I was just really impressed by it. And, you know, you only have so much time in the day. And I said to my wife last night, I was like, babe, I know this sounds crazy, but if I could just not sleep and somehow be able to be 100% a father, 100% a husband, 100% a painter, 100% a YouTuber all the time and never sleep, I would. But unfortunately, my mortal body does not allow for that. And I have to tell you guys, it is, but I have so much passion for this stuff. And my whole thing, as you guys know from my Denzel opening, is commitment and consistency, which is how Nosfero gets done and why it's so, I mean, I cannot believe, I've never painted this many comic pages in my life. And here I am, you know, a few pages from the end here. And I just cannot, I can't believe how, I'm overwhelmed. It's going to be a tough day, man. The day when it's done, I think, is going to be very emotional because it means so much to me. It's more than just, how do I word this? It's not about the pressure I'm putting on the work, because there's not. The pressure, excellence is a habit, it's a behavior, it's what you try to do when you're working. But the thing for me with Nosfero is, it's been an amazing process. It's been an amazing journey of making this book. And I really am, it's been overwhelming in all of the best senses. So I just hope that, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. There we go. That's a little better of an angle here. Let me turn that light off. I'm always struggling to find the best angle so you can see where I'm painting. But I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. But it is, yeah, he is kind of a swashbuckler. He's like, you're right, Cowabunga. He's, and if I don't put any comments on screen, just so you know, guys, if I'm missing them and just reading them, it's because of the painting. But this is the thing, man. It's like the thing about Nosfero and the thing about the stuff that we're doing here is we're trying to make something that is really beautiful and really amazing pop culture. And that's the thing for me, that there's no, make sure I get that right. There's no, what do you call it? There's no, let's see if I can find the dang words. There's only the job. There's only the job to make great stuff. Everything I do, I don't focus on anything else but doing the best job that I can do. And I know that's true for all of the people that I'm friends with. Their focus is doing the best job they can do. And when I sit around and I look at the stuff that I'm doing and the stuff that we're doing here, I'm very proud and I'm very driven. And it's been great, man. It's been great. And what I'm doing on these two panels here, which is kind of cool, I'm really excited about it, is, and this is one of the things that was taking me a minute to figure out on this page compositionally, is instead of doing 4 borders on this thing, so it's at the bottom part of this panel, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be almost like an Art Nouveau thing where this side of the panel is going to be open and kind of making almost like figure pillars, and it's going to match the other side, man. And that's the big goal, that I'm working on right here, is to try to make that come together. Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say, Skunk Artworks. It's great to see you, my friend. How goes the media, my friend? How goes the media? And yes, guys, thanks for getting the word out about this stream. I can see the jumps in people watching it. Whenever you guys tweet this out, it is so helpful. And it's great, guys. That's how we keep the lights on. That is how... we make this thing happen, is super chats and channel members and me streaming my brains out whenever I get a chance. That is the goal. And I feel like I need to stream my brains out right now. That's my goal at the moment. Because I just love working when I'm in a groove and sharing the process with you guys, because it is, it's a hell of a thing to be able to share this with you guys. And I think it's been a real shot in the arm to get to show you guys the work, when I put the camera on it anyway, to be able to show you guys the work in this better resolution, because you can actually see what I'm doing. You can actually see what's up. We have got in the house, can never miss him, channel member, General Piggy. Hail to you, brother. It is great to see you in the house, and it's an honor to have you as a channel member, my friend. It is an honor. Thank you for being here, brother. But that's the thing for me, right? When I'm working on this stuff, I want to give you guys a fly on the wall, kind of level of seeing this process and of, making this stuff as successful as I can, of a video show. It's like someone said to me, it's funny because I didn't really think, what the hell is that? Oh, stop that alarm. I didn't really think about, how sometimes I think about, people who are younger than me as being really young, which is not the case at all. And a friend of mine said, was talking to me, and they go, it'd be great if you had somebody to read your comments to you, so you didn't have to stop painting, like so you didn't have to read the chat on your, you didn't have to stop painting on your podcast. And he's a friend of mine, and I bust out laughing, and I said, dude, it's not a podcast, it's a show. And that is the weird, that's the generation that's just below me. They think of everything as kind of podcasts, and I thought, wow, that's wild, because I am older, but because I came into YouTube and I didn't, do audio podcasts at the beginning, I think of it as a show, and that's the funny thing about it, man. And I was like, wow, that is really weird. That's like a crazy thing to think that it's been so long that podcast is almost like an antiquated, we all know what a podcast is, but it's like an antiquated expression, that the expression now is a live stream, or a show. And it's crazy, man. I mean, the technology, I don't even know where it's going to be in a couple of years, but I think my hope is it's going to allow us to show people more and do more, because that's what I mean, with all of the algorithmic hijinks and new terms of service, dare I say, you never know where things are going to go. But we all have to just remember that it's ultimately built on the work. It's built on the work. My brother, God bless him, and his channel is still called Tesla Academy because it was hacked. But my brother Michael of The Choice Voice was able to get his channel back. But he had a pretty stark reminder of how easy it is to lose all of your content. He got hacked by something that looked like it was a copyright claim coming from YouTube. He opened the email. Thankfully, he was able to tweet to the YouTube team, and they were able to get his channel back. But he's been doing this, I don't know, you guys could look, maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years, and he thought he had lost everything. What is up, Marcus? How are you doing, my friend? Great to see you. Good morning to you, and hail, my Comicsgate brother. It is good to see you. I hope everybody's having a great morning. And I will tell you this. Oh, I'm lightboxing a page during my lunch. Right on. That's how we do it. Hard work, dedication. I love to see it, man. I love to see it. But I love that dude, man. It's like, yeah, I know. Funny contrast, right? Now everyone has one. It's true. They didn't exist 15 years ago. You're totally right, man. But it was brutal, man. He was like, he said to me, he said on his stream, he goes, I was looking at it and he was thinking, am I done with YouTube? Am I just done? Because I don't know if I have the energy to start from scratch. And I just thought, oh my God, man. He's a terrific dude, and I was so glad he was able to restore his channel and get it, where it needs to go, because it would have been a terrible loss. He is one of the most based people you'll ever meet, man, and he's great, man. It was just one of those dumb things where you're tired, you're getting a million different things in your email. It looked legit. And and he'd been getting all sorts of BS claims, and then it was like 1 second, he clicked on it, and it was like, that was that. And so it took him a while to get things sorted out, but I couldn't be happier for him that he's in good shape, man. And speaking of good shape, we got some good shape here. What is up, man? This is a segue. I go, speaking of good shape, we've got some good shape right here, and then I go, and good morning and good afternoon, Amanda B. Oh my goodness, but there you go. Apologies for the segue. But unless you like it, and then you may enjoy it however you want to enjoy it. But it's great to see you here. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. I've been painting fast and furious, and just proud as hell to be with you guys and doing Comicsgate stuff. I almost went on that stream. I'm sure I can't imagine what I would have brought to the table, but because I was out of it. But that mega stream Ethan did, launching all of the Comicsgate merch, I'm really excited about that stuff. I got to get some of that stuff. But I had, man, for those of you guys up in the Northeast, we've had some crazy up and down weather, which is less than great for the migraines, and it is what it is. And some days I feel like I've been hit by a bus. But I mean, it has just been craziness. But I will say this, is that I think that we talked about, I remember when we talked about when Malin was talking about 2022 being a big year for Comicsgate, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that it was a really big year for Comicsgate. But I think that there's going to be, bullshit the stronger we get and the more successful we get. But I also want to say that I also think that this is every time we go through like a chaotic period, we stabilize and the foundation gets stronger. And that's really what I think is happening. Oh yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. Happy to be. Yeah, just reach out, man. That's what we do here. Shanth, you are not in the north. That's true. I'm not in the north. We don't have real snow removal like you guys do in the Canadas. I mean, we had a brush with real snow. Gosh, when was that? Maybe like 6 years ago. And it was, it was something, man. And we needed you guys to send down your snow removal gear to dig us out. We were in tough shape. So thank you, my neighbors to the north. And Stephen Rockwood Drawing. It is great to see you, brother. My Canadian brother. But yeah, man, it's I was just thinking about how there's always like a stabilizing period, but the biggest part is going to be in finding all of the people with high level skills and getting them to come out and do their best work. And that's what do you call it? Yeah, I think so. He is. Sorry, I just saw it. I'm always like the last he hasn't notified me otherwise, so I do believe he is still with us. I'll be talking about Crimson Tide on his channel with him on Wednesday on Double Impact. But as far as I know, unless people have heard something I haven't heard, but considering we text all the time, I'd imagine I'd hear that. But yeah, but it's an interesting thing because I think that like with most things, right? There's this kind of temporal myopia that happens inside of any intense environment. By the way, 20 people here watching. Please make sure you like and make sure you're subscribed. But the thing that's interesting to me about it is that we have access to things that we've never had access to before. And everything that happens is, in the moment is sort of amplified. And it can be tough to see the bigger picture. Now, when I say bigger picture, what I mean by that is that, for example, the Comicsgate trademark that Ethan now has, right? The legal stuff behind that, like most legal stuff, moves at a snail's pace. I remember when he announced that. I remember those early streams when Ethan was talking about maybe one day doing action figures, and that took almost the entire time that was here. And I think it's the same thing with the comics industry. You see people, come into the comic book industry, and you see people leave the comic book industry, but you also see people who, I don't know how to describe it, but you see people like Bud Root, who I'm a big fan of. Bud Root just does killer artwork. He does great stuff, and he just is he does his own thing. And I think the more that we become the independent center, like we are, the more you're going to see those things kind of stabilize, because I think we're moving into a new space now, which is really cool. Indeed, agreed, man. Agreed, 100%. But yeah, I mean, I love that we're having so many breakthroughs and we're doing so much cool stuff. I'm excited to see, you guys doing some fantastic art for all of these different contests. I didn't the Inglorious Rex contest and all of that stuff. It's been awesome. There we go. Let's get some more, a better view on this thing here. There we go. That's better. There we are. But yeah, man, I mean, it's like where I was talking to my wife the other day, and speaking of weird algorithmic insanity, we did a show on Double Impact on the movie, the Van Damme movie Double Impact, and I don't go back and look at old videos that often. But it came up in my feed as you might be interested in, and that video has 65,000 views, guys. 65,000 views. So every single time we go out there and we do stuff, it's just another opportunity for us to get the word out. Maybe somebody sees Nosfero and sees the stuff that we're doing. I reach out whenever I can to people who might be interested in, I don't even want to say collaborating, but might be interested in hearing about what we're doing here. And there's just so many great channels, guys. So many opportunities to do that, you know. And I'm actually really thrilled to see the kind of huge change that's happening right now in pop culture. I mean, Disney, once an indestructible, titan, has been taking it on the chin because they've decided to redefine the company, and you're seeing, Universal Studios and Nintendo, and all of that stuff go mainstream, and some of these properties that were thought of as evergreen are losing their power because they're being mismanaged. And I think that's how it always goes. That's how it always goes with all of these properties, and we make this stuff come together and it gets to be big. We make the new stuff. That's what's happening. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Bud Root is great. Yeah, and I know he goes to the Charlotte Minicon as well. Because Andy Smith turned me on to his book, man. And that is great stuff. I love his stuff. I got his art book, and I thought it was just fantastic, man. It was just fantastic. Yeah, he does great. People know him for the Cave Woman, and they know him for gorillas, his paintings of gorillas and King Kong and dinosaurs. But let me say this, guys. He does some of the best werewolves I've ever seen. So if you haven't seen Bud Root's werewolves in his art book, man, it is worth a look. It is really great stuff. I was blown away by it, man. It was really cool. Maybe I'm gonna do, because I can always remove it after if I don't like it. I'm gonna try to drop in a silhouette right here just to kind of, because I want to make this frame. It's almost going to be a figure pillar. So on either side, I've got Drake Thulu and I've got Lascivia, and this is kind of where things get the final pages of the book get incredibly operatic. They get incredibly operatic, and they get and I want the compositions to reflect that. In fact, that's how I always say that the words are kind of the rhythm, and the paintings, and for me anyway, are very much the melody. That's how I kind of lean on them. And it's an interesting thing because as I put this stuff together, I need it to both be visually more intense and then compositionally more classical. And I mean classical not so much in the comic book sense, but classical in the painting sense, which it's also got to be a comic at the same time, which is why this is a little bit trickier than it would be if it wasn't. Hang on one second. I see a Cowabunga. Let me get to that too. So we've got Cowabunga says, I'm curious, is there any is an animation gate in the same way there's a comics gate? There will be once people start doing it. I know that the trailer that I played for Boots and Heels is incredibly well animated. Narwhal is doing animation as well. I know he wants to get some animation going. So I think there will be, man. Yeah, Bancroft isn't here. Go ahead and paint the nipples. I will soon, I promise, man. As soon as I start, though, he'll show up. That's the problem, man. That's the problem. But yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be. I think let's look at it this way. You've got a lot of independent animation stuff that's starting to happen around the world, Eastern Europe, everywhere. I think that before they were shut down by Games Workshop, the Warhammer fan film was absolutely incredible and showed the technical, cinematic, compositional virtuosity that those artists had when they were making it. And my comment is always going to be, make your own stuff. The tech that they're showing in Warhammer isn't copywritten. The like armor, suits, and things like that, and sci-fi isn't copywritten. So I mean, I loved that video. I thought it was great. And I know they're Warhammer fans, but they should be crowdfunding, or they should just be making and then selling their own work. Because you don't really benefit from working on long-term, working on and putting that many hours into an IP you can't earn money off of. I really can't overstate that. Yes, it might be a good way to get some eyes on your stuff, there's to be sure. But I also think then people start associating you too much with the other property and not enough with yourself. And that's the thing that I'm really I've been doing a lot of thinking about, which is to say, it's great to paint, or to illustrate mainstream stuff, and maybe you can get away with it at a comic convention or something like that, selling work based on it. But at a certain point, people are, you never really get to find out how into your stuff people are. And it's a little bit different in Comicsgate with the stuff we're doing, because it's letting people know, it's putting your name out there to a group of people who are interested in backing creators' work if it's quality, if it's good. So doing quality work, like for example, the Inglorious Rex piece that I posted the link to, it's one of those things to where Anthony Gonzalez's piece, I think it was. One of the things that you can do here is you can build up your own name, but when you draw Batman and things like that, you're really helping them. Yo, my man, Camel Moon, congratulations on an awesome show. I hope you enjoyed my video. I had thought of that. I had thought of that in advance because I joke with Banks about that all the time, brother. But congratulations on a great night, man, and thank you so much. I'm really excited about the win, man. Thank you. I do appreciate it, and congratulations to Preston again. But yeah, good dude. There's my man, Camel Moon, fellow Pulp fan and old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love that music, dude. Every time I hear it, puts me in a good mood, man. Good day, Frankio. Good day, Franklio. I'm sorry, Franklio. Good day, and inconceivable. And hail 80s Made consumer, my man. 80s Made. It has been a minute since I've been on your show. It's sometime I've got to come on and hang out with you, man. And dude, thank you. I got your message on Twitter this morning, dude. Love it. Thank you. Really, it's great stuff, man. It's great stuff. And I hope you see, man, and I know you know this, Camel, but I hope it was great for you to see how many people came out to support Boots and Heels for this contest, man. And I gotta say, man, this place is as fun as we make it. And the creators in the space, like Nosfero, back it if you haven't, are as successful as they are willing to work hard, and as we're able to stand up for and lift up what we think is quality, guys. That's what it comes down to. And I want it to be fun, man. I want it to be great, man. Of course, brother. I know it, man. And it's like, anytime I can hang out with you cats, always, always, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. And Odin had a fine piece in there as well, by the way. It's I can't overstate that, guys. I mean, let the work shine and do what you do, man. That's what's going to get us where we need to go, because this ain't rocket science. It's make great stuff, until you can't make great stuff anymore. And I want to make sure I say this. This is really important. I'm a big fan of Eric July and what he's done and what he's been able to accomplish. And let me be real clear about this. Two of my brothers work for him. Eric Weathers and Gabe El Taib both work for Eric July. I love those cats, man. And this is the thing I want to say, is that he always talks about how the pie is not fixed, and the pie isn't fixed. And when I think about how, I think about the 80s, and I think about people, and the 70s even too, but people reading Chris Claremont, people reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, people reading The Rocketeer, people reading Love and Rockets. This was a healthy and a great time for the industry. And if we aren't doing stuff, like, we should be looking around as creators and as audience members, we should be looking around and saying, like, hey, man, where is this book? Like, speak directly to the creators and speak to the audience, It's like when people say to me, hey, and why this book exists is because as an audience member, I'm like, when are we going to get a Frazetta-ass inspired, fully painted, sexy, cool, Hammer horror, Universal horror comic book? Like, I want to see all of this stuff come together. And it's a funny thing, because you become a servant to the piece of artwork, and you become a servant to excellence when you do things that way. And that is what I'm after. That's what I've always been after as a creator, man. And I just love this stuff, And channel member Green Laser has entered the house. My brother, it is great to see you, and thanks for posting the link. I do appreciate all you channel members. Every time I update the credits for this, I'm always so excited to do it, because I love seeing new channel members, and I love seeing you guys in the stream. I'm going to be streaming more regularly. I know I keep saying that, but I will, because I just went through a period where I was kind of fighting. There's this there's both this relief and this feeling of exhaustion. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you have. What am I even saying? I don't know if you guys know this. You know how when you are working to survive for a very long time, and then finally you get a second to breathe, and it's both a great thing and a terrible thing because you just collapse from exhaustion? I don't know why, but I kind of hit that point to where I was, fighting to get to X amount of subscribers so I could monetize the channel. I was fighting to figure out, how am I going to create artwork where you guys can see it and where you guys can see the quality of what I'm doing. And then I was fighting to get over that hump and get all the layouts, understood and get the story as best as I could get it together. And finally, I don't know what it was, but I must have gotten to a point where my brain said, okay, you could relax a little. And I just collapsed, man. I just collapsed. Oh, thank you so much, man. I got to tell you this, 80s Made. I really, really appreciate that comment. Although, to be honest, my wife says I need to go for more walks so that I can lose them. But I'm glad you appreciate my boobs. Much love, brother. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you this right now, guys. It's we cannot just go. And I see this all the time when people go, whenever there's tension in CG, whenever there's, or anything like that, I always tell people, and Shane Davis is, let me just say this, Shane Davis is amazing, and not because of tension, this made me think of this. Shane Davis bought a house, moved, had a baby, and was shipping a book at the same time. He is made of tough stuff. Not everybody is going to be able to do all that stuff, but, I know that Patrick Thomas Parnell and Whitney had their house basically attacked by a hurricane, and they've been working on all of the stuff they're building. And it's I look at Gabe, and Gabe just had, a new granddaughter. And that's one of those times, by the way, when you can, if you've been fighting, the thing about Gabe is Gabe's had a job since he was 8 years old. I think 8 or 9 years old, working in tortilla factories, family tortilla factories. There's never been a time when he hasn't had to survive. He's been a father since he was 18 years old, since he met his future wife in high school. And they were expecting and did the right thing, got married. He's been raising a family and doing all this stuff. And to pull himself from where he came from into DC Comics, leave on principle, all this sort of stuff, you would think that the wall would, you would think that the wall you hit would be something bad happening. Things that overwhelm your senses. Catastrophe, right? That's not usually how it works. With people who've been fighting from the time they were kid, sometimes it could be just a chance to breathe and look at a granddaughter. And it's a lot, and it can overwhelm. And I really think that what I always say is, always be looking down the road, man. Always be looking down the road. And when we talk about, I always love that song, Old Lang Syne, because I love that. We can create something where people understand, how you can move on, and how people can chill, and how people feel stress. And as everybody knows, there's always stress around the holidays. And so I always think to this, man, I wish all of you guys and everybody the frickin' best. I wish everybody artistic excellence. And I don't believe the pie is fixed. I believe that the pie is actually not fixed. And I think there's always room for more excellence. And so to recharge, just so you guys know, when I haven't been streaming as much in the last, I want to say month or so, I've been streaming, but not as much as I want to be. Every now and again, I'll listen to Atlas Shrugged. And just to recharge, I'll sit back and listen to that audiobook. I bought it on CD, my favorite version, and then I'll play it. And they were just talking about the soul-sucking kind of exhaustion that comes from working really, really hard and not being allowed to achieve. I think that Nosfero is exceptional. I think that I am able to run a very entertaining, in terms of thoughtful, let's say, my brand of entertainment, which is to say, God knows where it is and where it's going. the same things I did as a teacher, the things that made my classroom successful. And when you work hard and your stuff is solid, the only thing you want is to be able to not only just be rewarded for it and have people, which is to say people not rewarded like you get a pat on the head, but is to find the people who think your stuff has value. And Comicsgate really allows for that. And the worst thing in the world is when you find yourself getting punished for excellence. And I really do think at the end of the day, that is what has happened in so many industries. At Disney, at Warner Brothers, at all of these places. There are people who are excellent, who want to come up and want to do stuff, and they use bureaucratic activist BS to stop them from succeeding. And it's purely subjective. It is purely subjective. In Comicsgate, you got to wear your heart on your sleeve. You got to put your stuff out there. And when you put your stuff out there, you're going to see what things you need to improve. You're going to have to work hard to get those things. And it can't be overstated what a blessing it is and why people risk their lives coming to this country to be able to work hard and benefit from it. And I'm never, ever, that's never lost on me. As long as I live, that's never going to be lost on me because I appreciate it so much. And so when I was watching, last night when I was both watching Camel Moon's stream and I had like 3 or 4 different things open because I just love learning. I was learning about the history of Sleepy Hollow, and I was learning about what the actual bridge looked like. I ordered myself a postcard of from 1908 on eBay that was a picture of what the bridge looked like that Ichabod actually ran over. I was looking at the land and the way that the hills were set up and everything like that, so I could understand he was running uphill and essentially fleeing town when he went across that bridge. I mean, guys, I take this stuff super seriously. Oh, and Camel, let me just say this, man. I just saw Camel's comment there, and I meant to highlight it. Yeah, I won the shoebox tier, so you'll get 12 different versions of the book. Dude, I'm so excited. I can't wait, man. I backed Zero, but I'm gonna the Zero issue, and I was planning on backing the whole thing, but now it's crazy to think I'm gonna get that massive shoebox, dude. That's gonna be Christmas in whatever month it comes, man. That's gonna be awesome. But you know what I mean? Oh, your sister lives in Sleepy Hollow. That is awesome, Marcus. That is so great. I watched this channel that I absolutely adore called the Grim Life Collective, and they did a trip to Sleepy Hollow, and it is, oh man, it is so cool to see. It's so cool to one of the things I love about the Northeast, and I like this. I mean, we had Civil War history in the South when I was coming up, but this is the thing. One of the things I really do love is being able to be, to really connect with the history of a particular place. And in New England, when you think about that, there are houses and things up here that are older than the country. And we have the longest continuously running 4th of July parade in my town. It's overwhelming, man. It gets you. And when I was a kid growing up in Tennessee with Stephen Rockwood drawing, of course, one of the things that you'd hear about Sleepy Hollow and you'd be like, where is that? Yeah, of course I can still back. I know what you're saying, man. I know what you're saying, Camel. I know. Hey, listen, have I ever failed you before, man? I got in just under the wire on Hail Salad. What is up, Improvi? Good to see you, my friend. Hard to beat. Good old Sean. Thank you so much, my friend. I hope you're having a good morning, and I love having you here in the show, brother. I love it. I love it. I should see what they do for Halloween. Well, I've seen some of the videos of people who go there, and it is like Salem. And where I used to teach college was right across the bridge. It was bordered by Salem, Massachusetts. God bless those people who live there when Halloween rolls around, because it is just, you can't move, man. That place becomes completely swamped with people. And good heavens. But it is really cool. It's really cool to see that stuff. And New England has got so many great Halloween things. But there's a question for you too, guys. I'm just curious. I don't know where everybody is from, but are there any cool Halloween stuff where you guys are? Because I know there was a cool one in Tennessee. We had a haunted house that was actually in the caves at Ruby Falls. For those of you guys who always wonder what Ruby Falls is, if you drive around the South and see those signs. and it was amazing. It's one of the greatest haunted houses ever, and I know there's some great stuff everywhere. But I'm just curious if there are any cool traditions where some of you guys are, because I love Halloween. This book is, in many ways, a love letter to all the things I love about Halloween. So, but it's, I mean, I love spooky stuff. Always have. Always have loved the stuff. There we go. Yeah, I mean, guys, there's so much stuff that, there's so much stuff I wish I could afford at the moment, but gotta keep painting. But there's a new Frank Frazetta book out, and I've been watching reviews of that, and it looks awesome. It's by Toshin, and it is, whoo, that is a fine-looking book. What is up, Mr. Monkey Boy? How are you doing? I tip my cap to you, artist and Jetty, he says, and peace to the chat. Much love, brother. It is great to see you. I hope you're having a fine one on this fine Monday. Let me see here. All right. But yeah, I mean, I love Frank Frazetta's stuff so much. He's such an inspiration, man. Such an inspiration. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I want to do my biggest artist influence, as many of you guys know, is Alphonse Mucha. That's where the base, of my stuff comes from. But after Alphonse Mucha, it's Frank Frazetta, and I want to get this Alphonse Mucha-y, melty Mobius too. Mobius is an influence. Frazetta feel to this stuff, and that's the big thing that I'm going for as I work on it. Is just trying to get that playful but really fun, quality to it. There's this Frank Frazetta's stuff. The thing about Frazetta is he doesn't paint his stuff trying to make it totally realistic. He's got this, and I don't think that really plays in comics, to be honest, that well. I mean, it can. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think that he's got this great thing, and I've always loved working more cartoony and more playful and more fun, because you can really get the action and the adventure into it that way. Just walking, chatting. Absolutely. What is up? It's great to see. Oh my goodness. Great. My man in the chat here with a super chat coming in. Of course he is. Jericho Green. Super chat. My friend, I've got to play this for you. Are you still doing a live painting for 102.3 The Meat? Yes, I am, my friend. I was just talking about our show. Let me play. I got to send a cheerleader your way, Jericho. So this is how things work around here. So let's get this on screen, and then I want to make sure I send a cheerleader. Here you go, Jericho. This one's for you, brother. Charge! There you go, my friend. It is great to see it. I hope you're doing well on this fine Monday. I've been watching your videos, and I have to say this, guys. Good damn afternoon, Americans. We have got Jericho Green in the house. So everybody send your love, send your respect to the man, Jericho Green. God bless you. Yeah, it's we're going to be talking about Crimson Tide on Double Impact, and I cannot wait. Oh, gosh, Jericho, I was going to ask you, actually. What are the names of the morning show hosts? Because I was dying trying to remember what it was yesterday. But it makes me laugh every dang time you and Gabe say it. And I can't for the life of me remember what the heck it is, man. What is it? It's like, it's with so-and-so and Magooch or something. I forget those. Oh, man, guys. We got laughing on that show. When we get laughing on that show, it's over. So you can come watch us completely collapse under the comedy of the chat and our own insanity. Beaver. Oh my god. Oh, I love it, dude. I love it, man. It's the best. It's absolutely the best, man. We've got so much fun stuff to make. We need more t-shirts. We need more of that stuff because, oh man, I made the Skynet logo that we showed on stream the other day, and it's just, we're cracking each other up, man. And we're all fairly motivated gents, so I know be doing all kinds of really cool, crazy stuff, man. But hail to my brother Jericho Green. He's one of those cats that that I listen to. Oh, Jericho, if you're still here, I wanted to make sure I said this to you. Let me know if you're still here in the chat, man. But one of the things I want to tell you is, because I just realized you might not know this. I didn't know this. But there was a famous Pulp character that was one of the people in the Shadow's inner circle of agents. And his name was Jericho Druk. And I am almost positive that that is what the namesake was for Jericho Jackson. So when you go back and read the old Shadow pulps and you look at the history of the Shadow, there was a character named Jericho Druk, who was sort of like the Shadow's heavy when he needed stuff taken care of. And when I found that out, I was like, I've got to tell Jericho that, because, it is just the history. Because we were talking about Jericho Jackson when we watched Action Jackson, and there's this pulp kind of vein that sort of runs through American culture. And I love it, man. And it's like Jericho Jackson is definitely in line and a part of that. So is the great Carl Weathers in terms of his creative contributions to all of this stuff too. But when I've been meaning to tell you about that, because I was like, holy cow, man, we're talking going back to, the birth of real, or the rebirth of real pulp with the Shadow. It was the first single character run full issue pulp, one of the few, and it relaunched that whole idea that you weren't just buying a collection of different short stories, but you were buying the Shadow magazine, and it was all about the Shadow, and Jericho Druk was a big part of that. And I love that stuff, man. I love that stuff, Oh yeah, I was telling somebody this too. This will blow your mind. My friend Michael, his son's name is Clark, right? And everybody thinks of Clark Kent. Well, the old pulp character that Clark Kent and Superman were based on is a character with a much cooler name, Doc Savage. And Doc Savage's real name was Clark Savage, and he was viewed in the pulps as this guy who was like the height of human achievement. He didn't have superpowers, but he was the most learned, physical perfection human being, and they called him the Man of Bronze, like they called Superman the Man of Steel afterwards. And so I've always loved the idea of how you can kind of find and track the cool history of these names. And of course, Jericho from the Bible and all of that kind of stuff, but the references. But as far as badass pulp characters, Jericho Druk was our guy. And I just think it's really cool, man. I didn't know it till recently. Sleepy Hollow is the place to be. Yes, indeed. It certainly is. Yeah, James Bama, man. I have one of his books. I'm pretty sure his book is in this awful avalanche I have next to me. Because I love looking at James Bama's stuff. James Bama is who I'm using as an influence when I'm painting, spiritual influence anyway, when I'm painting Isom for Eric July's, character. I want to paint him. There's certain characters that I see that I really want to paint, because I think that they're speaking to something. And there's something about Isom that got me thinking about James Bama and got me thinking about Doc Savage, because even though he's an Accept, and I just read that book I guess a couple of weeks ago again, or a week ago again, and because he's an Accept, but he also has it's very much what he makes of it, his power and his potential, and I dig that. Like, I like when characters have to it's not like everything is kind of given to them. They have to work, and they have something exceptional. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Oh, that's Anthony Gonzalez Clark. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, that I know. It's like, yeah, Clark Savage, man. It's a great name. It's an absolutely great name. But see, that's the thing, guys. When you research, or not even research, because to me it's just more fun. Like when you learn, let's say, because that's a more fun word I think than researching. But when you learn stuff about the history of where all of this work comes from and where all of these great American icons and American pop culture come from, it is like it's a total journey. It's a total journey to seeing what the fundaments of and the foundation of our culture. It's what we're sitting on, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I just think that I just think that we all, benefit more. Like, there's so much effort that's put into, basically getting people to not know what American culture is about and to not understand what we're doing. And we have to kind of help people to reinvestigate that and see it. Like, help people to, it's out there. You can find it. There is no shortage of people doing videos on YouTube or even just, actual documentaries where you get to learn and you get to see what the history of all this stuff is. Hell, RAZÖRFIST Shadowcast is a great way to start up. Scott's Lee saying, I remember going through the Old Testament and thinking that George Lucas got half his sci-fi names by picking a word in the Bible and changing a letter or two. Well, listen, when I was listening to the book of Judges, and I think that I kept listening after that, I was hearing the name Ichabod, of course, from Sleepy Hollow. I was hearing the name, the temple to Dagon, which Lovecraft reference, and Obed Marsh. That name comes up. So much of the stuff that we see comes out of this tradition. And I think one of the worst aspects of things that we have lost, the things that frustrate me the most, is not only our pop culture history, but our tradition of introducing people to the Greeks and introducing them to the Judeo-Christian tradition in school, because so much of our culture is built on that. And and Jordan Peterson talks about it, but these are massive, massive touchstones. And if you don't have them, you just don't know where a lot of the stuff that you see comes from. And to me, it's like not having a compass and, or not having a map or a compass and being out at sea. It's like, why you wouldn't want to have, why would you put yourself at such a disadvantage? And so I think that you're going to see, you're seeing a new kind of reinvigoration of people studying the classics, because the classics are where it's at, man. And I'm not saying I'm not some incredible reader of books. No one would ever accuse me of such, but I do think that what's the word I'm looking for? When you find the stuff that's interesting to you and you meet people who have a passion for the subject and they introduce you to it, which is what great teaching should be. It shouldn't be a attempt to destroy and lay waste to things as much as it should be, which is what all critical theory is about and critical education in college is about. It should be about enriching people's lives with knowledge. Now, that knowledge does not have to be everything is positive by any stretch, but it should be built on a foundation of actual information as opposed to opinion. And that's one of the things that that we've kind of we've lost, but we have here on YouTube. That's one of the things that I think is really important. That's why, when I think about streaming, and you can always feel the teacher coming out in me, man. It's like, I should say the person who loves knowledge and chases knowledge, definitely, is, you can always hear me. That's like when I get into these kinds of zones, because I really care about this stuff. And that's what it was like when I was a teacher and when I was teaching, is that to me, once it stopped being about sharing knowledge and it got to be about, political agenda and jockeying, I'm out, because I didn't sign up to join a cult last time I checked. And so I don't want to hang out in Jonestown. I want to hang out with actual people who are passionate about things. And that's kind of my bread and butter. That's what I do. Do you know what I mean? Hold on a second. I just lost this here. That's such an awesome story. A lot of the classic pulp comic history I'm only learning recently from Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. Great dudes. By the way, Graham Nolan, can you guys send Graham Nolan a message? If you're watching his streams, and Graham, if you're out there, stop body shaming us. Put a long sleeve shirt on and some baggy pants. None of us want to see how ripped you are, okay? It's hurting our feelings. And it's a microaggression. Much love, brother. Love the Graham Nolan. But yeah, there is some great, great stuff out there. And once you read some of the older Germanic literature, you get to see where Tolkien gets a lot of his ideas without a doubt. Without a doubt. Very well read, dude. No getting around it. We Need Heroes with a Moral Center story should have all the characters, not have all the characters be snarky, characters nasty and snarky. Well, yeah, like in Velma. I grew up with Disney anime, Saturday morning cartoons. Brian Regan, then when you look into what they were influenced by, it's all the classics. You're right, guys. Reading the classics is huge. It's huge. It's really important to do that, man. And it's like, I don't want, here's something else I would say. If you give people a good education, it helps them to have a successful and rewarding life. And by that, I don't mean it's not just cash. It's bigger than cash. It includes cash. Let me be clear. It doesn't, because that's how you, one of the ways you know what you're doing is of value to people, is money. And I think that's the big mistake. People think it's likes and people think it's follows and all that stuff, which is, I do not look down my nose at. Let me be clear. But that's not going to keep your lights on. You know, so if you've got a wine dispenser at Twitter, but you don't know how to code, you're not really bringing anything to the table, but you're getting a hell of a lot. And so for me, the thing I come back around to is that I want, when people read Nosfero and look at Nosfero, whatever age they are, but particularly in our demographic, I want people to look at it and go, oh, this feels like oxygen. I can take out this book anytime I want to and see something that is mysterious, sexy, dangerous, fun, and beautiful, immaculately painted, and inspiring. And that's the goal. That's what we're doing here. And I don't know if there's anything that can put get anybody to put this much time into a project as I've put into Nosfero, or anything you guys are doing, whether it's building a house, building a family, building a life for yourself. You got to have a good why. And my why is my wife, my kids. My why is I love comics, I love America, I love Pulp, and all of these beautiful, incredible inventions of the imagination that have inspired me and lifted me up. That's the stuff that gets me, man. And you guys showing up and having these conversations, because I'm going to tell you something. There is nothing that is more... you think about... Let's talk about Double Impact again real quick. When Gabe, Jericho, and I get together to talk about these action movies, it's not just about the action movies. It's about just the brotherhood of getting together with a bunch of guys to talk about these movies that meant something to us with a bunch of other people in the chat who they meant things to, or who are curious to hear about them because they're interested in some of the stuff we're talking about and they think, oh, maybe I'll check this thing out. If you don't have those things in your life, it's going to be poorer for it. And these streams and these fun things we do, they're a lot of hard work. Like even things like before I do a stream, making a thumbnail, doing all of that stuff. You have to keep your energy up to do this kind of stuff, right? And it's not crossing the Nefu desert. It's not, storming Normandy, for God's sake. So I don't want to overstate it. But if you're doing it with any kind of care or any kind of passion, it's so important to do it well. And that's what we try to do here. And Hale Scotts, he says, I do a podcast dedicated to reading the classics. It's been a while since I uploaded, but I think it's super important to read and to gain perspective. You're absolutely right. Literature, and C.S. Lewis talked about this with theology, but literature is basically a map of the human experience that shows you other people's insights and interpretations so that you're not in this life by yourself, and you can learn from wisdom anyway, from other people's mistakes and avoid certain pitfalls. It's telling you, ooh, stay clear of the rocks here, stay clear of this. Joseph Campbell talked about that when he talked about mythology. And then there's the whole aspect of aesthetics. And for me, aesthetics and art and storytelling is a lot like friendship. It's one of the, like C.S. Lewis, I think, said that about the arts. He said, I got to find that quote. Hang on a second. Sometimes it's like I got to stop to read something because it's like... I've typed it before, but I've sent it to people before, but I never know where the hell I put it. Yes, here you go. Here's one of my favorite quotes, guys. I want you guys to get this in your heads for the day, and it'll. I'm not gonna stop the stream, by the way, but I just want to make sure that I get this out there. Friendship. This is C.S. Lewis. Friendship is unnecessary. Like philosophy, like art, it has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which gives value to survival. And that's what we're here to do, guys. We're here to make stuff that gives value to survival. Like, what are you fighting for if the arts are dead and the arts are about negative to life? Why are you fighting for life if you don't see any positivity and people doing anything positive with it? Those are the things that you get asked questions about. And this process of making Nosfero has the thing about it that is always kind of overwhelming to me, and I guess I was feeling overwhelmed by in the last couple of weeks, is that it's possible, guys. It's actually possible to make beautiful things in this world and to be supported by cool people when you do it. And what do you even do with that? It's an amazing and overwhelming thing for me, man. And it's big for my family too. You know, the more support we get and the more we're able to do it, it all starts here, to quote Mikey Walsh. And this is why I think I know I'm getting to the end of the beginning, and I know this is the hardest part, because you don't have back issues to sell. Speaking of back issues, you don't have back issues to sell until you make your first book. Your backers are so dang important, and you don't have anything that you have equity in that you can sell. I mean, I have the art books, but I wanted to jump on making this comic book right now because it's this Comicsgate. My first Comicsgate project is not going to be an art book. I've already done art books. It's got to be a comic. And to see this whole thing coming together, almost like, you know, that feeling of being helped by hidden hands, man, it's big. It's really big to see, you know, it come together and all of you guys support it. People like, again, Michael Bancroft and Eric Weathers and Gabe and Jericho and you know, Ethan and Shane Davis and John Malin and you know, Lord Crackhead 33, my brothers Odin, and all of you guys who are, like, you know, artists and working really hard. Stephen Rockwood, who's been one of my original champions. When Stephen Rockwood made his predictions of how this book was going to go, I thought, there's a man who's out of his mind. And, you know, don't question Stephen Rockwood. That's the lesson we learned there. Do not question Stephen Rockwood, kids. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You're going to be wrong. And you just don't know. And I'm one of those people where I can take joy in other people's successes. It's one of the great capacities. I think otherwise you know, kind of become a sociopath or a psychopath. And every now and again when I need a boost, because it's tough, man. It's tough to put yourself out there. It's like, you know, and just kind of say, all right, here's my artwork. Let's see how it goes. You got your skills, but it's still not something, you know, when you see Comicsgaters who do great artwork and they don't stream, that's why. It's actually hard. It's not a knock on them at all. It's like it takes a lot, you know, to go out there, and you have to be made of certain stuff. But I go back and I watch those early streams of when Ethan was launching Cyberfrog and him talk about, man, his dream was to make toys. His dream was to make toys, and we love Shave. Hail Shave. Shave's always cracking me up, man. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold on a second. Let me get this on screen. Have you watched the Jordan Peterson interview with? Yes, I have. Love it. Temple Grandin. I've seen Temple Grandin talk live. I'm a big Temple Grandin fan. About blue collar type workers. Yeah, absolutely. Temple Grandin's one of my heroes. So yeah, I saw her speak in Providence, Rhode Island, not long ago. My wife got that for me as a present, and that's how you know you're married to the right person, by the way. But she got me tickets to go see Temple Grandin because she knew Temple Grandin was one of my heroes. It is one of the great talks. If you haven't seen it, please see it. Channel member Green Laser. Hail Shane. Well, it's Shave, unfortunately, so be careful, guys. Don't get tricked. It's Shave, not Shane. It's you know, you can get tricked. If you mention Shane's name, Shave will show up. So always be careful, guys. Always be careful. But no, it's Temple Grandin is one of my absolute heroes because you know, she was the first person I ever saw talk articulately about what it's like to think in pictures. And I think in pictures, and I wouldn't say I have her level of memory, but I have a very intense visual memory. That's why when you see me painting, I do paint from reference sometimes, and I do paint like I do every tool in the book, right? Whatever gets it done. But I will say that most of the stuff you see me painting are things I'm just picturing in my head because I have that recall, right, to paint things that I've seen. Now, the trick with comics that makes Winsor McKay and certain people like that such legends, the guy who did Little Nemo and Slumberland, the thing that makes him such a freaking legend is the fact that he was able to not only recall things, but he was able to turn them into a comic book story. That is a whole nother kettle of fish, because there's things that I love Frank Frazetta's stuff, and I love artists who are fine arts painters and fantasy illustrators and things like that. But I do a lot of stuff that you really would never see Frank Frazetta do. And he did it. I'm sure he's done things like this, but you wouldn't see a down shot in a Frank Frazetta piece. You wouldn't see certain camera angles because he was always having his work come straight at you. Like that was the genius of what he did. And in order for me to do that, I have to be able to picture the figure in all sorts of different angles. And I'm not saying Frazetta couldn't picture the figure in angles, but perspective, shots, compositions, and a lot of that comes from just watching movies and having a lot of recall when it comes to movies. But yeah, you have to, there's things that comic book artists do, and manga artists included, of course, that require a very high level of visual memory and visual thinking. And Temple Grandin explains it well. God bless him. Jordan Peterson tries to step in and say, so it's like this. And Temple Grandin's like, no. I've seen it when Temple Grandin talks. Temple Grandin does not mince words. She's got no time for it. She's all about efficiency and efficacy. And Jordan was a sport, of course, having her on. It was great. But the thing about Temple is that if your brain doesn't work that way, if you're a visual thinker and you have that kind of memory, and maybe you're somewhere adjacent to the spectrum, dare I say, I used to watch shows, and I sometimes have an internal dialogue, like kind of, I think, but I used to watch shows like Seinfeld, and when the characters would do the internal dialogue overlay, I thought that was made up. I thought that was fantasy. I didn't know people had thoughts in their heads, because all I see is just a collage of overlapping pictures and images of all the things I see. So I associate visuals with words. And that really kind of took me aback. Like, I was like, what? And sure enough, Temple explains it incredibly well. Temple Grandin is amazing, man. Temple Grandin's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's now closing on 550 backers. Let me tell you something, Stephen Rockwood, man. When you told me for the first time, you were like, in one of my streams, and you said, we're going to get you to 500 backers. I was like, you're kidding. Dude, from your lips to God's ears, that sounds wonderful. I can't imagine that happening. I should have just listened to Stephen Rockwood. People say it all the time. Listen to Stephen Rockwood. He's like E.F. Hutton. There's a deep cut for some of you guys there, for the audience. But yeah, it's incredible. You're not going to hear me. You're not going to hear me anything but grateful, and I just want this thing to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I will tell this to anybody who's not backed this book yet. This is the cheapest it's ever going to be. It's only going to be more expensive after this, because I want this book to be, for the time, for the hours, and for everything that I put into this thing. This is a work of art, and it's just it's something I want people who get in on this book early to benefit from getting in on this book early, and so that is what we are doing, man. So yeah, it's going to be something, let me tell you. It's going to be beautiful. Like every day, even when you guys don't see me in here streaming, or even when I'm not painting, I'm thinking about the way the book is going to look and how things are going to come together and the story, the plot points. Like, it is, I do everything at once. It's almost like watching a movie in my head when I'm working, and I'm hearing dialogue, I'm hearing sound effects, and I'm painting, if this makes sense, I'm painting the sound effects. E.F. Hutton, that's a deep dive callback. You know it is, Blackjack. Hail, Michael Deach, how are you doing, my friend? I'm old enough to recognize the E.F. Hutton reference. That's you're in a special class of people, man, when you recognize that reference, brother. Because that was an absolutely deep cut right there. There's no getting around that, man. There is no getting around that. God bless you guys. And that is why we do these streams. That is why we hang out, guys. Because we can make those kinds of insanely inside jokes. And, yeah. You really had to be there decades ago. Decades ago. Goodness gracious. But yeah, man. I mean, I love this stuff, man. I love what we get to do here. You know, no one's at the moment, knock on wood. No one is getting too much in our way as far as doing this stuff. That we're able to stream, we're able to hang out, we're able to spend time together, and we're able to talk about comics. Because I do think, you know, I remember when C.S. Lewis would talk about, you know, Tolkien and the Inklings and them getting together and hanging out at the Bird and Baby or Eagle and Child, which is sadly no longer, after so many, I don't even want to know if it's a century. I think it was a century at least. The Eagle and Child has closed, and but they would hang out at the Eagle and Child or the Bird and Baby, and they would just hang out in the back room, you know, and over beer and conversation, talk about literature and all sorts of stuff that they were into, whatever it was, theology, and arguing their various points and perspectives on that. And yeah, you can't have those conversations with people who have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You have to find kindred spirits. Mike likes tacos in the house. It is great to see you, Mike. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm here for the high-level discourse and naked ladies. Listen, we try to bring both. They're not mutually exclusive, brother. Eric the Guapo in the house. Hail, Eric the Guapo. It is great to see you, my friend, and I hope you are doing very, very well. I feel like the chat is running a little bit behind. What the heck? Where's Eric? Hold on a second, man. Eric, it's great to see you. I'm just trying to figure out why I can't see you in this particular stream. That is annoying to me. But it's great to see you. Yes, indeed. Yeah, you got to, man. Side boob with no side no will always be a federal. Look, guys, I'm working on it. Luckily, perspective is so easy. Yes, it is, man. Yes, it is. Hail, Eric the Guapo. But yeah, man, it's one of those things to where when I'm working, here we discuss fine art, literature, and naked ladies. That's right. And a little bit of bawdry. That's how it is, man. We do a little bit of everything here because it's Comicsgate, guys. It's Comicsgate. You know this. Comicsgate is comics great, as some have said. I dropped a tube of paint a second ago, and it's one of those things where you have the realization where you're like, it was the tube of paint I need right now. Where the hell did I put that? Is that it right there? Yep, it is. All right, here we go, kids. Let me see if I can grab this. There we go. Ta-da! Orange paint. I need some cad orange for this right now, guys. I need some cad orange. Yes, indeed, man. Channel members are rocking it and representing today. Much love, guys. Thank you, guys. Oh, by the way, I should mention this to channel members. So, here's the thing. Here's the issue with YouTube. Or here's not YouTube in general, but here's the issue with building a channel, right? You get so... God, I'm like talking to the floor. Here's the issue with YouTube. You get so sucked into how do you build a channel, how do you make an audience, how do you do all this stuff. And I get to do fun things like the Waffle Lodge, and I get to do, you know, fun stuff like, talking about, you know, all of the cool stuff I love in my childhood memories. But I was thinking about, like, the stuff I loved, and I wanted to create something cool for channel members. And I'm going to start doing member streams. And one of the things about it, excuse me, one of the things about it that sort of dawned on me recently was when I started my the studio with my buddy that's right up the road from here. God, where did I put that tube of paint, guys? It is MIA. But when we started our studio, it was called Speakeasy Studio. And the whole thing about it is that you know, I made a logo for it. I did all of this various stuff for it. And I really wanted to create a place that was cool for the members, you know, to come in and check out, you know, what I'm doing and make some special, you know, areas for them. And it took me for frickin' ever. And I was just scrolling through all the stuff I've got. And I was scrolling through, I gotta find that tube of paint. Hang on a second, guys. Where the hell did it go? But I was scrolling through all of this material that I have, right, that I've built over decades. This was done in 2010. And I found my logo for the Speakeasy Studios, and I go, I have got to do a Speakeasy, you know, stream for people who are channel members. So I'm going to be doing that soon. I've already built the stuff out for it, But I want to do members only streams so you guys can like hang out. It doesn't matter if there's 2, 3, 15, 20, however many people show up. I want to start doing those every now and again just to hang out, shoot the bull, have people in, that kind of thing. It'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But I wanted to let you guys know that that is something that is on the docket, dare I say. On the docket. On the docket, as we'd say here by the harbor. Oh my gosh. Here we go. I love art. So, and I mean Art T-Bear, by the way. Art, if you're out there, I love you, man. Here we go. Love this stuff. I love color, man. I love the way it comes together, man. There's some digital, traditional, I don't care. There was some cool stuff in the art contest. Let me see here. Art and hot girls go together. I can't be the only dude to do a quick sketch on a bar napkin to impress the hot. That literally is why we do everything. What is up, Moss Blackburn? Great to see you. Was finally able to back the book. Excellent, Moss. Glad to hear it. Let's see here. Yes, yeah, and this is the thing about it, right? When you think about the history of aesthetics, right, and you think about the way that comes together, the history of aesthetics is tied to glorifying those things and focusing on those things that we find beautiful, noble, whatever it is. And to me, one of the things that's central to it is the human form, but one of the most essential things is the female figure. It is the thing that has driven so much, and I always tell people this, is that anybody who I don't think anybody here would say this, but anybody who thinks it's easy, give it a shot. I mean, Dan Lawless, holy cow, hail to my brother Dan Lawless. I mean, he was crushing it. He does some great figure work. Love his stuff. I have to tell you, someone said this, and I think the reason people respond to it is because it is by far the more challenging of the two. That Dan Lawless's piece that was Terror in the Trenches piece was freaking dynamite, man. And illustrating really good male figures is 1,000 times harder, in my estimation. So I'll give you a good example. If you're good at painting the female figure or drawing the female figure, you're John Singer Sargent, you're this one class of artist. If you're good at drawing and illustrating well the male figure, you're Michelangelo. That's the difference, man. It is some crazy high-level stuff. Park the car in the yard, not too far. Exactly. It's got smart pack. Watching movies is the artist's cliff notes. You're absolutely right, it is. Absolutely right. Yep. Not the only one. Yeah, that's right, Michael Deach. Yeah, I mean, guys, listen. We've got a tremendous opportunity here for as long as we choose to defend it, to freely express ourselves as artists. And that's a big part of why we're here. It's funny enough, it's stuff that it's the need to reaffirm when under threat by bureaucracy our basic constitutional rights, which is freedom of association, the right to express yourself freely. And these are civil rights. These are important things for us to be aware of. These are foundational to our society, and they are things that are unique to our way of life. Like when you try to explain to people that the freedom of speech doesn't exist anywhere, they don't really, it's not a law in a constitution anywhere but here, where it's an amendment. They don't believe you until they look it up. They're like, wait, why can't this person say what they want to say? Well, because that's not a right. And so when you see anybody trying to erode that right for any reason, whatever reason they give, it should always give you pause. It should always make you realize that it's like, oh, guess whose speech they come after next. Don't be a useful idiot in that cause of silencing other people, you will be rewarded in the sense that you get rewarded for that kind of thing. Not a good thing, man. Not a good thing. I have a Dan Lawless poster coming in the mail right now. It's from the Kozor campaign, one of the coolest guys in CG. Love Dan. Love Grosse Pointe Dank, man. He's my boy. We somehow lived a couple blocks away from each other in our childhoods, never met, but the universe is funny. When it wants two people to meet, it's going to take care of it. It's going to get it done. That's the way it works. go. Put a nice shadow in here. So I want to frame that body out just a little bit, because it's one of those kinds of panels that I loved when I was a kid, where you've got two people locked in comment, and it's just there's a ferocious nature to it. You know, it's like this guy's grabbed by the head, this guy's getting clawed, this guy's getting this like little squid-like tentacle cut off of him. You know, and it's just like it's on at this point in the story. It's absolutely on, and that is what I'm after. There we go. Now we're cooking. Yeah, I mean, and that's really like when you see the pages coming together and you see the figures, it's got to have that beauty, man. It's got to have that beauty. Scottsley says, as a Canadian, can confirm no free speech here. You're absolutely right. And Jordan Peterson's finding that out right now. They're threatening to revoke his practicing license for his speech, because that is not a protection that he has. It doesn't exist in Australia. Closest we have is the freedom of expression for the media in regards to politics. That's it. Absolutely right, man. It's crazy stuff. Yeah. There we go. Gotta stand up to it. My great-granddad wrote an angry letter to, when the regime tried to get him to put propaganda in his children's books, ended quickly for him. Yes, indeed. You've got to. I do love Art T-Bear. Black and white is looking great. Yes, it is. It is absolutely fantastic. Art's doing the work of his career here, man. Like, Art's getting it done. I remember his stuff from way, way, way back. And I don't know why everything always turns into an old joke with Art T-Bear. It's just, it's like got its own velocity here. However, I was a big fan of Art's work because he did a book that really hit me hard, which was Fantastic Four, the New Fantastic Four. He inked over Arthur Adams, whose stuff I was a massive, and still am a fan of. But he inked over Art Adams' stuff, and it was just one of the coolest stories. Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Hulk, Grey Hulk, which is my favorite Hulk, and oh my gosh, Spider-Man. And it was just really great stuff, and he brought it to life. And then, of course, I remember I'm pretty sure I got Black and White when I was, when I was in high school, I think it was. And it was just a great book, man. It was just so cool to see him bringing his personal, sense to it. But his stuff is insane now. I mean, it's beautiful stuff. I love his stuff, man. Listen, that's the job, man. You know it, Stephen Rockwood. You know it. We lock down bank accounts if you say the wrong thing. I know it's absolutely insane to watch that stuff, man. But I will tell you this, it's like, I think sometimes people don't notice what rights they have until someone reminds them they don't have the right. And I do think that is something that every person in every country should be looking to what we have in our Constitution and saying we need that here, period. Whoever we got to elect, whatever we've got to get done, that's got to be a right we have here. And I hope that is what happens. I hope that people sort of realize the importance of it, because it's not good for us that there's only one place where that's the case at all. It doesn't do us any good and doesn't secure us in any shape, form, or fashion. That's not the case anywhere else, because you don't want to be alone in that kind of situation. It's not a good idea. You want to be making sure that's a civil right that people understand is inalienable in a foundation. There we go. Getting those stairs down there and that perspective. This is going to be a fun book, guys. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to get it. It's going to be really cool. And it's funny, too, because the other day... and Probably just became a member. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to have to get your names in the credits. And Probably, thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting us. I've got a cheerleader to play for you, my friend. Thank you. Charge! I bow to you, good sir. I doff my cap to you. I tip my cap to you, my friend. welcome and God bless you. Thank you so much for supporting this channel, man. It means a lot. We're going to get more cool content coming to you. And actually on that I want to share something. Actually, how do I do this? I don't know how I do this because I don't know how to share things in this very well. But there's a, I'm going to have to share. Actually, I know how I can share this. What am I doing? Hang on a second. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see if it does. It probably is going to be too big. File. Find. Let me see if I can find it. And let's do... Nope, that's not the one I wanted. All right, we'll get this cooking here. Let me go to File, Recent. Where is it? There it is. And I'm going to share with you guys the title card design for the new members only show that we're going to have. So let me see here. I'm going to put layer. Okay. Let's do. Okay. And then I'm going to go image size. Bear with me, guys. Image size. Do. Okay. File save. Close that out. Close that out. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go into, for all of you channel members, I'm going to go into my YouTube. This is like you're listening to an elderly person attempt to do something. So enjoy it. It's ridiculous. So let me go to, and where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to go in here, going to drop an image. I'm going to make it members only. And, all right, here it is. And if you're a channel member, I think you're going to get to see it. So let's see if this works. There you go. So I just made a members only post in the community section that will show you the design for the members only, and with the Speakeasy logo that I designed and then kind of tweaked a little bit. But you guys will be seeing that. So enjoy. Yeah, that's what's coming. We're going to have some fun, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun in there. Alrighty, let me see here. All right. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I always say that one of the trickiest things is that you are able in CG to never let yourself rest, and there's a reason for that. Like you have to kind of almost be working constantly, but like every time you're not doing something, things are static. Things aren't moving if you're not doing it right. So that's the pressure a lot of people feel. But the thing is sometimes when I take a break, it's not really a break. I'll just be working on something else, like for the YouTube channel or for, channel members or updating something. So it's always a trick, but that's the kind of stuff I do when I'm working, man. That's the stuff I do when I'm trying to figure out, like, all right, well, what am I going to do for this thing? How am I going to, make a space that I get excited about? Because it's coming up with an idea, and then you figure out, like, after a while, am I excited about this idea? Like, is this something that I'm really going to be able to make happen? And I'm excited about the channel. I'm excited about Nosfero. I'm excited about all this stuff. But with shows and with theming, I really loved, and I did really enjoy the Waffle Lodge. It was just like, I think it's something I'd still do with the member stuff, but I think it was confusing to people who were coming into this whole thing cold. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, what is this? And I said, well, how can I streamline this? But sometimes you got to have that grit in there. So it's hard to not second guess yourself, and it's hard to change things when they're working, and they could be better. So, it's, you guys know, you've been here, those of you guys who've been here for this whole time in this long haul, man, you know how hard we work. It's like, we just are doing it, we're making it happen, and we're having a good time with it. Here we go. Get that angle in there. Hopefully we're in frame. Yeah, Drake Thulu is a huge, huge character in this story, man. He's dangerous. And when Nosfero when Nosfero is confronting him, because he's got to rescue Laurel. I mean, it's you get a sense of the scale, and it's really important for me, to have cool villains, in the story, like cool character designs, cool creatures. And it's tough to do. One of the things I see people struggle with, although I have seen some great stuff, is doing kind of like action creatures that are kind of inspired by the Cthulhu mythos. I mean, I think H.R. Geiger's Alien is a really good example of that, but it's very tough to do because you've got to make something that has a kind of ferocity to it. And I wanted to tie the sort of Nosferatu mythos and the Dracula mythos to it, and make something that was both a humanoid that you could understand as a baddie, as a boss, fight, but also not not lose that kind of creepiness and that coolness of Lovecraft stuff. So that's the trick always when I'm doing this stuff, man. That's always the trick. Here we go. And again, it really, after a while, I think that when I'm painting, it's not as different as when I'm inking in some levels. I know that it's different in the color aspect of things, but I think that the thing that you'll see me doing is it's really about getting the consistency. If you've got your ink is dried out, it's the same as if your paint is dried out. It's not going to flow. It's not going to coat. It's not going to do what you want it to do. And so a lot of times, what's happening over on the palette is I'm just getting my consistency and making sure you start to do it as a reflex. It's a little bit like driving standard transmission, but it's just getting the consistency right, rolling the point of your brush so that you get a nice point on it, and so that it'll do what you want it to do, and then give you the unexpected when you want it to give you the unexpected. And that's really the thing for me that makes this so fun, is that you guys, especially with the newer videos that I'm doing now, you guys are going to see this stuff coming together in higher resolution. So you're really like right on the canvas with me right now when I'm doing this. You're here. And that's what's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting for me to look back on it, God willing, in maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years, and just sort of look at this and see how many hours that I recorded anyway, not all the hours I've worked, that I've spent painting, because it is a lot to do a painted book. I think that's why you don't see a lot of painted comics, because the painting skill set and the comic book storytelling skill set and all of that, they're incredibly complicated. You put them together, and it's quite a mountain to climb. But the results are so rewarding. I mean, they're so unique, and I think that if you've ever seen a really great painted comic book, you know what I mean. It's like they're beautiful, and you always think, well, why aren't there more of these things? Because there's something pretty about them, and something there's an elegance to it, but it's a tremendous commitment. And I wanted to do, and I'm sure there are people who are operate all different speeds. Some people take longer to paint a comic book. Some people take shorter to paint a comic book. So who's to say where it could go? But it's also artistically, the challenge is putting something down that that's going to work down the stretch. In comics, you go through periods of wanting to adjust things. So you have to have that confidence that what you've got and what you're putting down is going to be something that you aren't going to want to change, but it's going to be something that you're committed to the direction that it's starting to move in. And I'm sure that intimidates a lot of people. Like, I don't doubt it. I was looking at Simon Bisley's Slain the other day, which is a hell of a great book, if you haven't seen it, but it's crazy, man. Yeah, I love that. Michael Deach says, distorted but recognizable human features are particularly uncanny and disturbing, the stuff of nightmares. Amen. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know that there's a horror movie that apparently is doing well right now called Megan, with a 3 for the E. And people were just, it's like, terrifying, because it's, they just put a mask on a kid and put that kid thoroughly in the uncanny valley. And much like Chucky, like what they did with Child's Play. And it is a terrifying sight to behold, man. That stuff is scary, and it's apparently making bank. So yeah, Jason Blum is an interesting cat. He's got a really great business philosophy. I think the times he gets tripped up the most is when he abandons it. you know. And I think if he makes one mistake in his stuff, and has made one mistake in his stuff, it's when he lets it get too political, because I think that stuff it won't age well. You know, it just isn't going to age well. And I think some of the best stuff they've done has been stuff that just is the mission is to create something scary and to excite the audience. Let's do it. And when he does that, it's great. When the directors he hires do that, it's great. Then people project all kinds of social commentary onto it, which is perfectly fine. It's what the audience can do. But he really he's got a great business model. I wish Daily Wire would pay attention to his business model a little bit more, because they're trying to start out with Oscar type films, in my opinion, and they should be doing what Carl Laemmle Sr. and Jr. did with the Universal Horror, which is go straight to the audience. Go straight to the audience and what entertains them. Oh, someone's calling, but we'll talk to them later. Talk to them in a bit. Let's see here. That's not even a mask. It has to be some sort of distorted deepfake. Yeah, it's scary. It's totally a mask. Yeah. I've seen some AI art and it creeps the hell out of me. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I think that I say to AI art, welcome to the party, because it is tough to create something that's not real and that people feel like they need. And a lot of that comes from the human element. A lot of that comes from and I don't mean like the human element, like how do I word it? AI in time, I think, will be able to create. You'll be able to type something into it, and it'll be able to use real research, like the artists at the beginning of time. It will be able to do what Google Maps does and scour, its database for knowledge and what people look like, and create something in 3D and then translate it into a 2D image. I have no doubt of that, and that's going to be really interesting. That's going to be an interesting time for art and culture. But as far as the stylization goes, I think stylization of artwork, like what I'm doing right here, is something that you really have to find, and you can't just add a bunch of different idiosyncratic styles together to get it to be something that people connect with. And it is one of the hardest things in the world you can do. And I don't know that I don't know if people understand like how it's always going to be tricky. You're going to have somebody's eye on it to make it work and to make it into something that people look at and go, oh, cool, that makes total sense. I love that. Oh, that's neat. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing AI is walking into right now. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all goes. I think that it's going to really be. I think it's just AI art and digital in general. It's great ability is it's a simulation of a thing. It gives you a simulation of a thing. And if you and I, with all due respect to all of it, if you when I paint something in digital, it's not the same thing as painting it. I'm being helped by AI. It's not the same thing as painting it in traditional, right? It's a simulation, and it gives you a visual. And when you scan an artwork, you could say that it's a digital representation of it. So it goes to the same place, irregardless. But there's something weird about the physicality of making artwork with your hand that even I don't understand as someone who does digital and traditional. I don't understand what that missing ingredient is that people like, that other people like. But it's clearly there. It's clearly something. Because you see it in cartooning, you see it in concept art, you see it in everything where people basically do stuff that, to the casual observer, they'd say, well, this stuff looks about the same, but the audience or the people who look at it don't think that. I mean, how many people tried to paint and draw like Michelangelo who were damn good academic artists, and it never went anywhere? What is up, John? It is great to see you. Hail to you, John. Always great to see you in the chat, my friend. I hope you were doing well. Just in time for wrap up, my timing. I didn't say I was wrapping up right now. I'm not wrapping up right away. But it is great to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, I mean, it's because I think about that with literature. I think about that with stories. Like what makes the audience gravitate towards something? What is it? Like I was thinking about a work that I saw that I really enjoyed. The look of it was the artist who does a book called Merry Boys, I think it is. I don't know if you guys know which book I'm talking about. But man, that guy has some really cool, crazy style. But I don't know how I would define it. Like I don't know how I would go, okay, this is why that's good. It's good. I look at it and I enjoy it. And it's certainly not about perfection. It's about something else. It's the sum of the parts. And I guess that kind of takes me back to what we were talking about earlier, which is the fixed pie philosophy that I don't follow and don't believe in, that Eric July is always saying is not a thing. People need to chill. Is it what makes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles work? I mean, it's insane. Like, what makes the art speak to people of Eastman and Laird when they worked together on that book? Don't know. But it wasn't anything that was about perfection, and it wasn't anything that was about just them. I mean, they looked at Frank Miller, they looked at all of these different artists. They had tons of different influences on it, but it's the one influence that they didn't know how to maybe quantify, which was their influence on it. That was the difference, because they brought whatever they had in them to it. Because lots of people have tried to do Frank Miller, lots of people have tried to do animal comic book characters, right? But theirs worked. Theirs worked in a way that was different, than everything else, and that's the thing that kind of amazes me. Wow, that panel is really coming together. You can feel the struggle. Oh, I'm so glad, man. Thank you so much. That's what we're here to do, man. We're here to make it come together before your very eyes, man, and really get that energy into it. And you guys can see the difference. I know you guys know from watching me do this. When I'm going through a period where I need downtime, I need to rest and to get back into a groove, you can see it in the work. And it's just, I'm one of those people who doesn't know how to quit till I collapse. And I don't really ever quit, but I don't know how to stop until I collapse. And, that's the thing for me, is sometimes I kind of need to drive myself to the point to where I just can't move before I can take a break. And so when I got a little bit of a break in, I was working on the same page, and I just was like, I'm not there. Like, I gotta rest. I'm burnt out. And now I'm working on it. It's just like, there you go. Got it. Like, and I worked on other things because I'm, insane. But I was working on a bunch of different stuff. But it's like, it doesn't change the fact that I need to be in a particular sort of zone of just having everything, everything good. Got to have my mind clear, my eyes rested, and then I can do what I do here. And the same thing, and the main thing is with the streaming, because it's not that I can't paint, it's that I can't paint and stream, and which is a sign I'm tired, because painting and streaming and talking to you guys is actually not that hard when I'm well rested. It's harder when I'm just wiped out. You guys know. What is up, Eric Husel? Good to see you, my friend. Good afternoon. And chat, it's good to see you. Good to see you, my friend, and great to see you in the chat. I hope you are doing well. Holy cow, we're one away from 30 likes. Are you kidding me? My goodness. Yeah, it's great to see you guys. Shanth ain't quite right. Listen, it has been said by many. Shanth, could you paint effectively using a standing desk converter? Yeah, I could probably, but I don't like to stand up. It's weird. Because I like to hunch over it like a crazy person. It's just the way it is, man. It's the way it is. I don't mind doing a standing desk thing, and I might at some point, because, Gabe swears by them. I've had so many people swear by standing desks. But for me, it's like, yeah, maybe I will at some point, though. Never say never. I'm just thinking out what you said. Yeah, maybe that's the way to go. But yeah, man, it's like, it's just, you get into this zone where it's like, and you guys have watched it happen, where I'm just like, I'm painting, and it's like, I'm not even there. My brain is not thinking when I paint. My brain only thinks when I paint when I'm tired. It just does. It's like the Joker. I just do things. Oh my gosh, 30 likes. You guys crushed it, man. Thank you so much. Everybody's saying hello. It's good to see all you fine people. But it's true. I just kind of go for it, Yeah, standing is great if you're working on big art, but otherwise feel free to sit. Yeah, I mean, these are the detail in these panels. I mean, there's my thumb, right? And there's the piece. Like, here's my hand, and then here's the figures. It's super, super detailed. And you guys see that with all the stuff I do. I mean, when people buy originals and when people get the stuff, the thing that you kind of see is right away, and you'll see this when you get the book, because this is it's going to be a good size. The book is going to be bigger than comic book size. It's going to be letter sized and square bound. But you'll see how detailed this stuff is. Like, when the book is smaller, it's just, you go, well, holy cow, this is serious. There we go. Because, you know, it's like we're here to entertain you. We're here to put something really, really cool in front of you. The rule of cool. That's what we do. There we go. Now he's in some trouble. Now we're getting him framed out, and he's in some serious, serious trouble. He's had a little piece of him taken away. And that's really the key, man. That's the key for this stuff. But what you don't realize is that Shanth is actually 8 feet tall, and his hands are enormous. Gigantism. It's true, just like Rondo Hatton, guys. Yeah, man. That's totally what it's about, you know. But it's like little things like getting, you know, here where he's like pulling his sword up after just taking somebody out, you know, getting that sort of viscous sort of sense of play there, getting the stones, you know, on the interior of this space, right? And making sure that it's got that immaculate reality that we're striving for when we do this stuff. I mean, it's the continuity that's important. And so you're doing things, you know, with the figure where it's about aesthetics, it's about making sure it's beautiful, but it's also about making sure that the story is consistent and everything is running how it's supposed to be running. And so I've got to always be thinking about, and I'm certainly not alone in this in CG, but you've always got to be thinking about like how you're putting these things together and how you're kind of making something that is both elegant and aesthetic and then works for telling your story. You know, I mean, that's it. That's all of it right there. Is getting that story told. And just, you know, gosh, making something beautiful too. Like, excuse me, I look at Bernie Wrightson's Swamp Thing stuff because I've got that artist edition over there, and holy cow, man. You know, you want to talk about what they did at Warren Publishing with their books, and then they brought over to DC Comics. That stuff is insane, and that's what I'm after. I want to make something that's just crazy cool. That's our goal. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's starting to come together. We got to keep making it work. Yeah, listen, I was singing that the other day when I was driving in the car with my wife, and she just looked at me and she was like, "What is that?" And I said, "It's Flint Flossie, baby. It's Flint Flossie, the man. Treat me like a pirate." That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I think you guys know what time it is. I think I'm coming in loud and clear, and I've got me and Stephen Rockwood with me. There you go. Never forget, guys. Never forget. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you'll do this kind of work, and you know, you talk about the idea of, you know, the aspirational, no pun intended, quality of fantasy, and you talk about the reliance on beauty that fantasy demands, and the reliance on heroism, and the reliance on the operatic, and these, it's not this image by itself here. It's this image with that image with this image. That's how why it works. That's the opera of it. Because I've got, you know, figure drawings and figure paintings that I work on all the time. actually I'm gonna probably start doing some of those in the speakeasy. You know, just doing a lot of figure paintings. Because I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm working on. Like I've always got a figure sketch that I'm working on. So, you know. And that's the thing for me that it comes down to, you know, painting figures. What's up, Julie Pascal? Great to see you. How are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Depending on if you're in Australia or not, so you never know. But it's my goal is to do a lot more, you know, figure stuff there and have fun there because, you know, it's like I can show a lot more of how I do things, you know, with channel members and smaller streams. So, yeah, we'll have fun. People can ask me questions and things like that, and I can do, you know, demos of things in there. It's a little bit easier to manage. There we go. Then we'll let that fade. And then I got to figure out, I got to put her chin back in there, which was right there. Just a little bit. I just need that note so I remember where I left my car. There we go. Right there. That way I'll be able to read this a little bit more once it starts to come together. But yeah, that's how you put this stuff together, man. It's going to be, this book is going to be something. It's going to really be something. And, I mean, looking at how many pages I've got in front of me now is, like I said, something I could not have imagined when I started. Because, like anything, it's like, all it is it's about the commitment. You know, again, I play Denzel at the start of every stream. Without commitment, you'll never start. Without consistency, you'll never finish. And the consistency is the key. The commitment and the consistency both work hand in hand. You know, and I'm committed to getting you guys an outstanding book. That's all there is to it. And I'm committed to doing an outstanding book. And I'm committed to the success of this. And I think that this character, Nosfero, in my personal opinion, Nosfero is going to be for, my goal anyway, is Nosfero is going to be for horror and the horror genre in this world and as it goes out, what Batman is for the vigilante genre. Like, that's what it is. It's like he's Solomon Kane, he's Conan, he's everything. He's the Phantom, he's Pulp. That's what he is, man. Yes, indeed. Celebrate the man. Martin Luther King. I tip my cap. Indeed. Actually, I doff my cap. Rest in peace, a fine American. But yes, indeed. Happy Martin Luther King Day. You see what we got here. All right. So yeah, this is going to be some crazy, crazy stuff, without a doubt. When this comes together, you know, as it comes together, I should say, because it's getting, as you guys can see from this page, it's getting, we're getting down to those last bits. It is hard to believe. It is hard to believe, you know, that we've come this far. I mean, I had no idea. This channel was going to do this well. I had no idea we'd have channel members. I didn't even know what that was. And here we all are, sitting here on a fine Monday, making artwork. Channel members, super chats, viewers, likes, all that stuff, man. Just a blessing. And Flint Flossie. Can't ever forget Flint. Flint is very important. Okay, so now here's where we got to get a little crazy here. As Bob Ross would say. All right, we're going to get a little crazy. Let's get a little crazy, Bob Ross used to say. I'll talk about somebody who's still crushing it on YouTube. He doesn't even need to know what the future technology is going to be. Just do your thing, man. That's the key. That's what you learn from Bob Ross, man. Just do your thing and don't worry about other people's thing. Focus on your stuff. Going to put in a nice kind of cool blue. I'm going to push it a little too far, because if I push it a little too far, I can always bring it back, but if I don't push it far enough, it won't work. I'll never know what I left on the table if I don't go for it full tilt. And that's the biggest thing too that I love about this space, which is you have a responsibility to not leave any stone unturned. That's the key. There we go. And now, so I've got the blue light there, and now I'm going to put the red in the shadow as the light passes through and creates that contrast. This is what the light passes through, the atmosphere or whatever it is. It's usually a cool light. Occasionally it's a warm light with fire, and then it comes through the skin, and then it creates something warm in the shadows. So you can never go too warm in some of those shadows when you're painting flesh tone. And that is the key right there. That's how we get it done. You'll see me time and time again when I'm working really go for warms in the shadow of flesh tones. And just push things a little further than I think they need to go. In that way, we're going to get what we're after. There we go. People to hit that with red or something like that afterwards, and then we'll get what we're after. Yeah, if Da Vinci was caught on video, he'd still be playing. There you go. That's right, he would. He'd still be painting. Yeah, he would be. Push it real good. That's right. Shant, are you going to stop streaming to spare spoilers the closer you get to the end? I don't know. I haven't decided yet on that one. I think I'm just gonna paint, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to spare people with spoilers. But you never know. You never know. You guys may need to spare yourselves of spoilers. But again, it seems like the timing is always right when I say that. I'm going to be painting this on stream until the end. That's the only way people will know what we're doing here. So yeah, I think I'm going to paint up until, I mean, there's a page I'm working on where I'm just like, nah, I want to leave this. You know, I might. I reserve the right, but I may have to start putting a spoiler warning in front of these streams, you know, because stuff gets real in the next couple pages. That is, without a doubt, stuff gets real, as they say. Yeah, you guys can see what I mean. I mean, it's like we're getting into, I mean, and that's the thing right here, and I just realized I haven't painted it yet. I've been looking forward to it. Like, every single panel, like, the way that I try to get them to work and try to stay consistent with the storytelling is just remembering where all the bodies are, so to speak, and figuring out how to put together a panel right there and right in there so that people can kind of see, you know, how we got to where we got to, especially in this this final battle between Drake Thulu and Nosfero, man. I mean, it's savage. I don't think that, you know, Pulp's interesting. Pulp, there are some arch villains, but this is where I think comics, you know, kind of really took it to the next level visually, which is, you know, Drake Thulu is designed to be that kind of a boss villain, a boss fight villain. And there's other villains in it that give you the understanding of the world and expand upon it. And there's the smaller villains that you need to drive a story. And Nosfero is going to be going to have a lot of different villains, just like, you know, Spider-Man has a Sinister Six. I'm going to be creating those in every single issue. I've been known to get jiggy with it. I mean, people would say that. I think it's a fair thing to say. But yeah, man, it's like the and I know I've shown you guys these characters on previous streams, but they bear showing again. But, you know, where we're going, so much plastic everywhere. Where we're going in issue 2 with some of these characters, there's gonna be some serious stuff, man. It's gonna be some cool stuff. Speaking of my love of Sleepy Hollow and Headless Horseman, but you know, when I do an idea or when I work on an idea, I sent this to Rob the other day, but when I work on an idea that doesn't go anywhere, I put a lot of thought in it. Like, so when I take something all away, I've got thought in it. So this was a piece I did for a cover of a potential Comicsgate project. I did 2 potential Comicsgate projects, and you can find them on my Instagram, like me working on them. One was about kaiju that I worked on, and I just didn't like it. It just I didn't have the story down. I think I'd have a better chance of. Well, no, I don't have the story down for it. And then the other one was this black and white story that was about Manananggal and the Filipino Manananggal myth. And that's what this one is. And you guys can see that when I do black and white, which is paint and brush, it's I go full tilt, man. Like, this stuff is just me going completely nuts. And this is stuff that will definitely be printed in an art book or something like that soon, man. Yeah, same blade Bisley used in his Tower Chronicles. Yeah, this right here, the Kukri, guys, this is Book of Eli. Love it, man. This was super inspired. Hey, thanks, Michael. How are you doing? Did you like my video, man? I thought of all of my friends, you would like my YouTube video the most this morning. And good morning to you. Happy Tuesday, my friend. I hope you're having a good one. I know it's probably an ungodly hour there in Australia, brother. But thank you for the congratulations, man. I do appreciate it. Much love. And yeah, I love Simon Bisley stuff, man. For heaven's sake. I mean, that guy's stuff is great. I mean, Frazetta is still in his own category for me. And by the way, I should say, channel member Improvi now. Channel member. It is great to see you. And good morning to channel member Michael Bancroft. It is great to see you, brother. Thank you for being a member of this channel, man. Yeah, it's we're having a good time here, man. It is the rule of fun, man. It is the rule of fun. It is the rule of cool. So yeah, so this is one of the things I was working on that was very much based on the Manananggal myth, and I had the book, which a lot of you guys have seen. But I mean, I like working in black and white. I like working in color. I like working in a lot of different ways. But when it comes to making a book, this book is, and I know I've said this before, but this book is very much designed to be, if this was the last thing I made, is it everything that I can do? And painting is just a massive part of me. Color is a massive part of what I do. And I just knew I wanted to bring everything I could to this thing, man. Everything I could. And so that is the objective. And that I'll tell you, I mean, I look at that black and white story, and it's only got I could wrap it up as just a cool, interesting short story in a couple of pages. So I might do something with it down the road. I'm not saying I won't, but it's for me, painting is just it really helps me. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just when I paint, I feel like I'm just very connected to it and dialed in a way that I just need. I need to paint. I don't know why, because I didn't when I was younger. I was terrified of colors, terrified of paint, but I need to paint, man. It's like my wife and I were talking about this the other day, actually, which is, if you need to do something, whether it's learn to play the violin in my case, or learn to knit, or learn to paint, or learn to graphic design, or whatever it is, you're not doing it. There's things that are, as you guys know, that are important that you need to do that aren't for a job. They aren't for a career. They aren't for whatever. And some things you can have some overlap on, and you bring your passions with you into it. But for me, I will always tell people, if you have a feeling that you need to paint, do not miss out on doing it. Get yourself some paints and do it. I think Bob Ross was 100% right on that. Do not miss out. If there's an instrument that you want to learn how to play, there is no time like the present. Sign up for some lessons, watch stuff online, but for heaven's sake, do it, man. Because you've only got this, you've got time. Time is your greatest commodity in the world. And, when I sit down and I go, would I rather be painting or drawing? This is what I would rather be doing. In terms of, if I'm going to work my tail off on something, if I could, because it's so impossible, man. Doing a fully painted comic book is such a complicated and difficult thing to do, that I think it's the kind of thing that, as I look back on all those pages, it's so worth the effort and so worth the work. I think if I hadn't painted comics and I hadn't done this, I'd look back on it and just feel like, I wonder if I ever could have done it. What would it have been like if I had done it? And now I don't have that. It's just, it's scratching something off of that list. You know what I mean? Of that bucket list, man. That's what it's all about, is doing those paintings. You know, because you only get, you know, it's you've got to, like, you know, take the opportunities that are important to you and are valuable to you. Oh, look at that. I'm sorry. I was like, I'm pausing. This is a funny thing. Pausing to admire my work, but I was like painting and I went, oh, that leg looks like it's sitting in space. It worked. I still have moments, man, right? And super easy, right? Yeah, it's all super easy, man. It's all super easy. Actually, kind of easy once you figure it out. The first 6 weeks, yes, right. 6 weeks is the hardest part. Siege Perilous, hail to you. It's great to see you in the chat, my friend. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. My friend. But yeah, man, it's like, I could just think about this stuff all day. You know, it's you know, what are you going to spend your time with? You know, like, who are you going to spend your time with? What are you going to spend your time on? If I can get a good painting out of something, like when people say, well, what makes you decide whether you're going to take a commission or do a job? The biggest things are, do I have an idea for it? And is it going to be something worth making? So I'm never going to dial in anything I do work-wise, like, you know, or I'm never going to just phone in anything I do, because everything I do is on that list of a limited amount of paintings I do in my life. Every single one of them is taking one of those away. And so why on earth would you want to do something that's not full tilt, you know, and not awesome? Like, that's everything, man. That's everything. That's everything we're doing here in CG, you know. Let's see here. Hail Shanth, and yep, am in good cheers. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it, my friend. I hope you are having a wonderful time, as always. Wonderful morning. I hope it's beautiful where you are. I hope it's not too cold. I hope if there's food you like to eat, that you will soon be enjoying it. I think if there's movies or art that you want to go back and watch, if there's experiences you want to have, I wish them all upon you, and I hope you guys have them. Because, yeah, man, that's the stuff that's great. And if there's work that you always need to do and you need to get done, I hope you do it incredibly well. I know you guys will do it incredibly well, and that it is going to contribute. And that's really what it comes down to. Every person who backs Nosfero, every person who backs CG books, every person who votes with their wallet makes it possible for people to do work. And they say more than just their habits. They say something about the stuff they're passionate about. And when you support independent projects like you guys do, and when you support, you know, what creators are doing in this space, it is you saying a lot more than you know to a lot of people. People are like, what do you mean? What, you back it? Like, what is that? What's it you're doing? You guys know. You're changing pop culture. You're pushing back, you know, against, you know, this kind of corporate dross that we're being subjected to right now. And you're saying, I want to see stuff that's got some heart and soul. And that, and that a lot of people in abundance, a lot of individuals in abundance can change things for the better. And that's the great thing about it. They can make things creative because, you know, it takes, you know, big corporations. It takes them millions and millions of dollars to not pay their people. You know what I mean? You guys pay directly to us. So if we do really well, you see how well, you don't necessarily see all the costs of printing and all that stuff and all the supplies, but you know what I mean. You guys are seeing where it's going. Oh, Michael is here. Damn it. Yeah, that's right. Full bore or no score. Amen. Bancroft, when are you going to get treatment? Phobia. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that's working, man. He was, oh my God, you guys were entertaining me so much last night. I don't know why, but whenever, I mean, actually, I do know why. Whenever I hear the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme play, it puts me in a damn good mood. So, can't go wrong with that, man. Cannot go wrong with that. It's a blast. Let me see here. All right, let me see if I can get that line there on the chin a little better. And I want to clean up that edge right there. Yeah, that's the other thing about painting that is really fun is that it's not unlike digital, guys. I mean, it's like you can clean up lines, you can move things, you can put things back. It's just a question of getting comfortable with the paint consistency. And I understand why people are nervous about painting. It's because, again, I always say this, like swimming. If you have a bad experience with swimming, it's harder to learn than if you've had no experience with swimming. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with painting. So many people have, even if you go to art school, if you have a terrible painting teacher, or you get introduced to software by somebody who, and sometimes you're just not going to learn it, let's be clear, but sometimes you are capable of learning something, but you just have a terrible experience with it. And I always say, just keep, especially with YouTube, keep going out there and trying to see if there's someone who's going to explain it to you in a way that makes sense. And if it's me, awesome. You know, if you can learn something from this that helps you get over any kind of fear of painting, then that is great. That's the best thing I could hear, because I do think that art and music and all of that stuff enriches your life, you know, and it's important to have that stuff in your life. I mean, someone was talking about Temple Grandin earlier. Forgive me, I can't remember exactly who it was, but was talking about if I saw the Temple Grandin interview with Jordan Peterson. And if you want to know how I think to a large degree visually, watch that interview. Temple Grandin explains it really well, how people who think in pictures experience things versus people who think, like, frankly, the majority of people think, which is what I like to call the normal way. And it took me a while to learn how other people were thinking about things and that they were having these particular kinds of thoughts. And I was like, oh crap, no wonder nothing makes sense. But it's a great interview. But she talks about the the very real problem that we're dealing with right now of skill loss. Do you know what I mean? And amen it was, Michael. Amen. And guys, you guys put on a great show last night, by the way. Excellent work. But Temple Grandin talks about skill loss and how we're losing people who work with their hands, and engineers, and people who, plumbers, electricians, and even surgeons. Like they're having trouble finding people who can pass tests but can't work with their hands. And this is all working with your hands. Everything we do here is working with your hands, whether it's making thumbnails, whether it's doing, you know, whatever else we're doing. You have to be able to understand how to make things work. But when it comes to making the work, when I see Michael working, you know, on the Lucent, it's a lot of sitting there staring at things and trying to get your hand and the materials you're using to do what it is you want it to do. And I think that's something that is probably the most useful thing you could teach any young person, is any kind of trade or skill, because it does way more. It's way more than learning than people really understand, which is to say, it's learning plus. It's learning plus muscle memory. You know, it's learning plus all of that various stuff that you have to do. And we sort of raise people and we educate people to become, you know, no offense to my former profession, we raise people to become lecturers. We raise people to become critics, but we don't raise people to actually make things. And making things is one of the most important things. Making things, repairing things, maintaining things, and passing on knowledge, guys. I mean, that's the reason why we paint, isn't it? Like, I don't want to pass this on to a computer. I want to pass this on to people. So I'm sharing my skills and I'm sharing what I do because I'm a link in a chain that's going back, that's bigger than me. It's bigger than anything I could possibly do, you know? And, yeah, I mean, I would encourage everybody that if there's an aspect of our passing down of knowledge and of our history of passing down knowledge that you want to be a part of, that you want to at least honor and do something with, don't ever miss an opportunity, because it's your heritage too, man. All of this stuff, this is the heritage of humankind. You know, when I sit in a movie theater or look at my TV in the dark and watch a show, it's the same thing as the cave paintings to me, you know, and the torchlight flickering. You know, that's what it comes down to. Okay, I think that makes sense. That makes sense. This dude right here, let me see here. I want to just make sure I get this guy's ear direction figured out. Because he got, yeah, he will be missed. Like, Frazetta had this really great thing, and I was looking at one of the artists that he, looked at for his figures. Basically, he lifted a couple of figures for one of his paintings from this artist. It's something that happens. It's not a big deal. I mean, it was amazing. Just because you look at something doesn't mean you can be Frank Frazetta, right? And but it was cool. And I was looking at, like, I like to look at the artists that influence people. And I just realized, like, you know, there's always that opportunity in the Conan pieces to show, you know, the people that he's defeated, you know, as a part of making it both a more successful story, but also adding to that romance, because this composition is very classical. You know, you've got and then it's the composition within a bunch of compositions. So you've got your hero, and your hero is standing over one conquered opponent and facing a much tougher opponent, you know, that he's locked in battle with. But this is sort of showing his history. This is showing him kind of moving, up in terms of the level of difficulty of what he's doing, and then you pair that with the panels around it, which bring in, the more romantic and the more, beautiful, and that's, you've got the kind of the whole picture of what, the romantic work is, and romantic artists were striving for in both mythology and story. And I think that's probably, one of the things I like about Michael is him and I both are fans of the classics and the myths and the modern and the pulp, and the storytelling and the car chases, the motorcycles, the action scenes. When I think about doing a Lucent piece, there's a lot of data and visuals to kind of crunch. Like just the idea of it is, because I've been thinking about it ever since we met, because that's my natural response to seeing anything, like whether it's reading RAZÖRFIST book or anything. I think, what would I do for that? Like, because it's sort of it's a conversation, right? It's me looking at it and going, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's what my artwork is about, is, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, does this make sense? Do you know what I mean? And that's huge. Oh, missed some chats here. Yeah. Make it until you fake it, or something like that. That's right. Talent plus craft equals actual achievements in the world. Even Shakespeare had to learn his ABCs at some point. You're absolutely right. Speaking of your former profession, there seems to be too many who are petty and do not possess a teacher's heart, at least have kept a teacher's heart. Yeah, you're right. It's right. And I don't do... Pettiness is just... Was it... resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Yeah, you see a lot of people who burn out, and I've always made sure to not stay anywhere to the point to where if I start to burn out, and I don't mean burn out a little, it's everybody. If you do anything, guys, let me tell you, working on a comic, you are going to feel burnt out sometimes. That's why I was just saying I had to take some time to kind of re-energize myself. There is no job in the world worth doing that isn't going to take everything you have. And some jobs, like running essentially running your own business and being in this thing by yourself, are going to bring their unique stresses, and they're going to bring their unique obstacles, and they're going to bring their unique exhaustion. I know a lot of you guys do run businesses and have run businesses. I think Michael Deitch, we talked about that, right? That there are so many different things, and you try them and you see sort of how they go. And so it's like, it's all work. But if you're being asked to do something that you believe is unconscionable, that you think is wrong, and in my case that's teaching prejudice, and the DEI cult stuff, then that's different, because that does things to you as a person that, especially if you've had my experiences with prejudice and being on the receiving end of it, being asked to actively participate in it is never going to work. You can't do it. It's incompatible with my programming. I like people. I meet a lot of different kinds of people. I like people based on what they bring to the table and their integrity and what they do. And I'm not interested. I'm painting off frame. I'm not interested in judging people for any other reason. That's not ever going to be my bag. I love how much I paint off of frame there. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, yeah. I want to do a Lucent piece and then call it The Woken. Yes, you got to. Yeah, I mean, it's if you think about it, it's like, what is... Yeah. Running an engine only at idle without a load is wrong. Running in the red overloaded is wrong. The engine must fit the load. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and don't hook a racehorse up to a plow. One of my favorite expressions in the world, right? Like, if people want to teach art, my attitude is teach art. If you want to teach politics, you're in the wrong profession. The problem is that that has become the profession, right? And so one of the quotes I pulled, I guess 2 days ago, I pulled and I copied and pasted it. I typed it actually, because I couldn't copy and paste it, from the book, because I wanted to remember it. They show a guy who's working on engines, and the main character, Dagny, says to him, "Are you doing all of this alone?" And he says, "I used to, but we've grown so much in the past year that I've had to hire 3 men to help me." "What men? From where?" she asks him. "Well, one of them is a professor of economics who couldn't get a job on the outside because he taught that you can't consume more than you have produced. One is a professor of history who couldn't get a job because he taught that the inhabitants of the slums were not the men who made this country. And one is a professor of psychology who couldn't get a job because he taught that men are capable of thinking. And then she asks, and to whom have you abandoned our colleges then? And he says, to those who were wanted there. And that's the thing. I want the people who they want to have there, they should have them. That's it. If they don't want productive people, good luck with that. If you don't hire the best, if you don't encourage the best, if you don't reward the best, you are going to see them leave. And at first, you can mitigate it a little bit. But soon, it's too much. And Atlas Shrugged is about the people who carry the weight of any creative endeavor and productive endeavor on their shoulders, and them deciding to shrug and not being appreciated. And that's why I appreciate people so much who contribute so much to these things. And that's why I pay attention to you guys, because I think it's important to know who's contributing and who's there and who's got your back. You know, integrity and authenticity are the most important things. People that pretend to be someone they are not. Yes, that's exactly right. I couldn't say it any more clearly than that, Shave. You're right. Sickens me. It sickens me to see what people do. You know, but they can't all be like us, Shave. They can't. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I would say to anybody. You know, it's like if you can't, the parallel education system will rise in answer to that. It absolutely is starting to. It's starting to. There's a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of control wrapped up in the existing system. And it is far easier to, and that's to say not easy at all, but it is far easier to do what I'm doing right now in terms of making artwork and doing this and then build towards stuff like that than it would be just to come out and sort of say to people, oh, hey, listen to me. Because how things work in, you know, the land we all call reality is that we like to see what people can achieve outside of, you know, their outside of education that shows off their expertise inside the realm of education. And that while that always worked, when you work on concept art and you work on other people's stuff all the time, as great as that is and as good as that can be on some levels, money-wise certainly, if you get a couple, you know, if you get quite a few $1,000s to do a concept art gig, it's not something that you own. And it's not something that, you know, you're a part of a process. And what Nosfero is about taking something that I have equity in and that I own and putting it out there. And I think that the more people see me work and the more this book gets out there and people see how great it is, the more it's going to be, people are going to listen and hear what I have to say about these things. Because I'm going to say it whether or not it's informal, you know, in a teaching, whether I'm pitching it as teaching or not, I'm going to continue to do what I've always done in the classroom, which is teach people what I've learned from my experience in a way to hopefully help enrich their day and enrich their lives. That's what it's about, man. You know? Amen. Yeah. It's going to happen, and it started a little bit with Jordan Peterson, you know. It's like, but it's I think he really got people to realize what was going on, you know, what was going on in terms of compelled speech and all of that stuff. So we'll keep going, we'll keep working and see where it goes. But hopefully this can be a place where, you know, when I'm talking and you're hanging out and I'm painting, hopefully this is a space where you can come into it and you can say, man, when I need to, like, you know, when I need to have my spirits lifted up and, you know, think about more interesting things and less political things, I can come in there and watch somebody work and watch somebody practice what he's preaching and bring a little bit of beauty, a little bit of inspiration, and get me thinking about, what do I want to do with my time? What do I want to do with my day today? Maybe I want to listen to an audiobook of something I haven't heard in a while, or, you know, maybe I want to make some work. Maybe I want to enter an art contest in Comicsgate and put my best foot forward and have a great time. And I want to say this again, if I haven't said it in the last, you know, hour. I don't know how long I've been since I've said this, but everybody who entered the contest for the Boots and Heels thing, great job, guys. Great work. Way to get out there and do it, because every single bit of the things that we do contributes to creating the vitality of this space, the positivity and the enthusiasm. And it takes work to make artwork. It takes work to put your stuff out there. And it takes work to build that sense of fun that we build here. And don't miss an opportunity to do that. You will absolutely, it will come back 100-fold positively, all of the positive things that you do with integrity. It's the way it is. You just never know where things are going to go. You never know what cool things are going to come out of the stuff that you're doing, guys. Let me see here. Which page is this? Third to the last. Oh, man, why'd you have to ask me that? No, it's not the third from the last. No way. It's, I think it might be the fifth from the last, but don't quote me on that. Because there's a lot more action after this. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing that is the cool part. Yes, sadly, history says it will work for a while longer yet. However, eventually, reality will bite. Yeah, exactly. You're right, man. Reality always does, right? That's my favorite Ayn Rand quote, actually. You can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, you know, is that, you know, how do I put it? You can ignore, this is what Comicsgate has been and why this has been so important for me, is that I could work around people for a certain amount of time. And why, by the way, the 2 art books I published before I had the support of a CG community, in terms of when I was supporting the CG community before I was being supported, my work was being supported by it. What I can say is this, is that I built a huge audience on Twitter for my artwork, on Instagram for my artwork, before Instagram was taken over by Facebook and became what it is today. So it was much more merit based at its start and less algorithm based. But here's the thing about it, right? And here's the big thing about it. As long as I was only on a campus, teachers who were not that good at painting or drawing and who resented skill were able to live in that delusion. But the second, funny enough, because social media isn't something it's not the God I pray to, but apparently it is for a lot of them. Clout is big for them, and status. I had no shortage of people coming up to me. How did you get that many followers? Like, what's the secret? What's the trick? It's like, what's the trick? I don't even know how this thing works. I just make artwork and post it. So what's the trick? Yes, hard work and dedication. I make good stuff and I share it. I make good stuff and I ask for people's support. I'm asking you for your support. Will you back Nosfero? Will you become a channel member? Will you support what I'm doing here? I'm going to ask it humbly. I'm going to ask it aware that I'm going to bring skill to the table, and I'm going to try to give you something of value. But let me be absolutely clear about this, guys. That is the thing that people are afraid of. They're afraid of seeing merit rewarded. And I am happy to see merit rewarded, whether it's my merit or somebody else's. And that's the focus I have when I'm doing my work, guys. That's what it's about for me. Do you know what I mean? So let me tell you this, guys. I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to get something to eat. I haven't eaten today. It's like 3:12 p.m. I got to get some food. But I just wanted to come in here and tell you guys how important you are to me, how important you are to Nosfero, how important you are to Shanthan Jetty Art, and just to share with you guys this painting process and making the book, because it's you guys who make it possible, and it's you guys who do this great work of backing campaigns and being the people out there saying to other people, do yourself a favor, come into this space and have entertainment that doesn't hate you. Be around creators that like you, because there are people out there who would love Comicsgate, and I'm convinced of this, and love what we're doing here, and love what Eric July is doing, right? They love this stuff, but they don't know about it. And just like back in the day, we used to tell people, come play this video game with me, man, you're going to love it. Hey, come to the comic shop with me. Check out this book. Oh my gosh, have you seen this run on this comic book? Have you heard about this book? Have you heard about this character? That's what we're all doing, myself included. So when I do that Boots and Heels painting, what I'm saying is, have you heard about Boots and Heels? Have you heard about this? When Camel Moon is mispronouncing my name, Camel. But when he what he's doing is he's saying, check out this guy's work. Do you know what I'm saying? And that is the joy of what we're doing here. So I say hail to all of you guys. I say good day to all of you guys. I, as always, say stay gold and peace. And the reason why I say peace is not the same reason why that Crazy Frost woman said it, by the way. And that was a hell of a remix I did. But it's because it's actually what my name means. Shanth means peaceful one and peace. That's how it works, guys. So I wish you guys a wonderful day, and I hope you guys are having a great time. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'm going to be playing the credits for all of you guys. Stay gold. I will see you soon. I won't be a stranger. And much love to all of you guys, especially my channel members and my new channel members. You guys are awesome. You're keeping the lights on. I appreciate you. I will see you guys soon. And hail to Stephen Rockwood, man. That's the way it is, man. That's the way it is. We do it. So take care, everybody. I will see you soon.
Hard work, dedication, hard work, dedication.